Yo, 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 what's going on? What's going on? We back, baby.
Yeah, happy George Floyd Day! We had to come back for George Floyd Day.
I know, right? Oh, and we got a special guest for you
Special,
guys today,
special
and he
guest.
just jumped in the lobby right now too. So you might want to put the headphones in for this.
Perfect timing.
All right.
Thank you.
Hey, can you hear us loud and clear?
Yeah, you're loud and clear. You hear me?
You're a little low.
How's that? That good?
That's better.
All right.
How you doing?
Yeah.
I'm doing great. You guys are doing well. I see the short
Yeah.
in the background.
Yeah.
Happy George Floyd Day, first of all.
Like I just found out it was George Floyd Day. Is it? Oh my
Like an
goodness.
hour ago, we just found out.
Like, what the fuck? I was on Twitter bullying people and making funny comments and shit. Trying to piss people off. I got to get the Twitter up. That's the one thing I want to kickstart. So.
It's only a matter of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did it because I just got banned on TikTok and then they restored my account again. So.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna say, damn, you're
TikTok is the
banned.
worst app
Yeah,
on earth.
So here's the crazy thing, and I don't know if you want to save this for the show. I can bring it up again. But
Oh, I was already live.
you're already live?
Just started the
Oh,
stream.
you came at the perfect
You came
time.
at like as soon as we started. You joined the
it's
lobby.
good to be on. It's good to be live. It's good to be here.
Yeah.
So I'll just go into it. So you've got, I think I did a video on Aries Spears. I'm sure you're familiar with Aries Spears. A comedian. Funny guy. Love him. A big comedian. Was on
I'm
Mad
not familiar.
TV. You remember Mad TV? I'm 24. I
Might
remember
be-
Mad TV. Holy shit.
I mean, I
He's
know,
younger
I
than
know,
us.
I know Mad TV, but I didn't really watch it. And I was trying to
I
watch
heard
it. I
of
couldn't
it.
find it nowhere.
Yeah, so it was like at the time, I think this was trying to compete with SNL. Like I said, I'm 24, so someone probably older than that.
Right.
They would probably tell more. But he was a funny guy, actually hilarious, on the same level as Dave Chappelle in the 2000s. And I loved this comment, loved all his shit. So I made a video talking about, fuck black businesses, the whole video that I did. That went viral, went everywhere. And he comments on my page and says, you're Uncle Tom, you're a pussy nigga, all this. I'm like, holy shit, hold on. First off, Aries Spears is in my comments. This is wonderful. This is fantastic. I love this guy. I love your comedy. Oh my goodness. I'm fanboying in the background. And I type out like this long response. Well, it was not a long response, but it was like, pretty much fuck you, I'm self-hating. Okay, Ari, it's nice to know that I'm self-hating. Thank you for letting me know. I haven't known this all my life. Wow, it's great. So
Right.
I made the response to him, a video response, and automatically within like maybe 8 hours or so, it got struck down. So I appealed it, and it's still in review. It's been in review since the 19th of April. So that counts as a strike. So when you
That
get
don't
it,
make no damn sense.
yeah, it's been in review for that long. And
Right.
it doesn't violate the community guidelines. It's been posted on Instagram. I posted it the place other people posted it. And I'm like, how is this a video that's getting taken down? I just think maybe it's because, he's got the special privilege of being a celebrity and all that.
Wouldn't put it
Yeah.
past it.
Yeah.
The way TikTok is very gay.
Yeah, it's extremely
Very
fucking
good.
faggot.
I hate it.
I can't stand the faggotry that comes from TikTok. I have no filter. I don't give a damn,
Oh, love
Love
it.
it.
Love it. We love it.
We need
absolutely-
more people like that.
Yeah,
We need
for
more
real,
people
'cause
that's
a lot
not
of people
scared
wanna
to-
hold
to
their
say
tongues and,
faggot,
let
bitch,
people-
anything.
Let people tell them what they can and can't say. No, that's very...
Exactly. I grew up playing Call of Duty and being in the lobbies talking shit.
MW2, bro.
Yeah, MW2.
You hear
Fuck
it
that.
all.
Not MW2. Call of Duty 3 and Worlds at War. That's what I was playing. I was playing zombies talking shit.
You
dude.
was
So
you was in the trenches.
I was in the fucking
Jeez.
trenches. Getting called all types of shit at like 8 years old. It was fun.
Yeah, and it built character, man. Because
It did.
like you had anybody saying anything, and it's like at the end of the day, if you shit on them in the game, all they can do is talk.
That's all they could do.
That's all
That
they
was
could do.
That was a great time for video games. Just think about it. They've ruined modern
Oh
gaming.
yeah, everything sucks. They ruined everything.
They've ruined
Literally
everything.
everything.
One of my favorite games that I used to play, I played this for 4 years straight on the PS4, The Last of Us. I know they've made a TV show of it now. It's absolutely disgusting of what they've done with the second game. The second game was all right playing it, but then they made it into a TV show now, and like this is a millennial writing. I'm going to be honest. This is what millennials write. It's dog shit.
Yeah.
It's just
They
woke
ruined
shit.
it.
They've ruined everything, and that's why people
Everything
are,
they touch dies.
everything they touch. And this is why people are moving towards the East, and they're looking at what they're writing, what they're putting in. You can't understand it, obviously. We can't. I'm not going to speak fucking Chinese or read subtitles like that. But it's better writing and well put together compared to what's happening over here in the West, where it's a bunch of virtue signaling and we've got to feel good and Bunch of bullshit. Nobody wants to hear
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, we were Zaza had me watch Cars again. You know, you remember the movie Cars?
I love Cars.
No,
Hell yeah.
Disney.
Yeah,
No,
we
that
wa-
movie is so deep, bro. Like, go ahead, go.
Yeah, so we watched it as a kid, but like when you were a kid, you just kind of watching it. You like the colors and the stuff, and you know,
Yeah,
you're not really
bro.
looking at the depth of the plot. You feel me? We watched it again like a couple days ago, and we were like, "Damn, this is deep."
Bro, that movie is
It is
deep, bro.
deep.
It is deep,
Bro,
yeah.
I need to make a whole video about that because I thought I was tripping, but Lightning McQueen is black, okay? Lightning McQueen represents a black man. I mean,
A black
I'm
celebrity.
sorry, I have to do this.
Yeah,
Hot take
Lightning
of
McQueen is-
2025.
No,
Lightning
seriously,
McQueen,
he is black.
Wow.
Okay.
yeah.
What he did was he was a race car.
Yeah.
Think about that term, race car.
a
Race
race
car, okay?
Yeah.
Stick with me. Okay? So he's a hot celebrity, a hot athlete, and he's treating everybody like crap around him. He's a horrible person.
Yeah.
He's abusing his staff. He looks down on the sponsor he has, Rusty's, because he looks down on how they look. He's a piece of crap. And his whole thing is, he has to get to California. Mind you, California, okay? What we know about California is a very communist place, okay? I found that interesting.
Yeah.
Lightning McQueen is trying to get to California to, be the hot shit in California and win this race. He gets lost in this small town, right? This busted out small town in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by the very cars that he looks down on, the rusty cars, right?
Yeah.
The rusty cars represent the conservative, the whites, right?
Yeah.
Stick with me. And he looks down on them, even though they're the ones who are supporting him and the reason why he's a major celebrity in the first place. They're their sponsors. But he looks down on those people. And, God, we're going to get real deep.
This is real deep.
This wasn't even a top.
Hot coverage.
Well,
I want to hear more. Go ahead.
Right, no. Doc is like the blue car, I think, who was like the older guy who was in charge of Radiator Springs.
Yeah.
Doc is an old race car. Now, when I'm watching it, I'm thinking that Doc is actually a black conservative. Because what I observed when Lightning McQueen first showed up in Radiator Springs, he was running from the cops. He came and destroyed their town. And another thing that made me scream when we were watching the movie was there was a scene where they had like the statue of the founder of the town. He comes and knocks down the statue. I was like, bro, who wrote this? Lightning McQueen is black. He's tearing down statues. He's ruining a small town. He's running from the police. He gets arrested. They take him to court. The Doc, the older car, who I think is a black conservative, right? He's basically like, he sees Lightning McQueen. He's like, oh, that's a race car. That's a nigger. Get him out of here.
Get the nigger
Essentially.
out.
Yeah, no, seriously, that's what his first reaction is.
Yeah.
Then we have the female, right? She steps in and springs off the whole plot because she has a whole different perspective. She's like, well, he needs to fix what he broke. So she's basically like, oh, he needs to stay here, and she radicalizes everybody else to allow that to happen. And the judge guy, he's like, okay, whatever. So they keep him there, which shouldn't have happened because what ultimately ended up occurring was she fell in love with him.
Mm-hmm.
Right, which caused her to have an emotional attachment to him. And mind you, I don't know if she was supposed to be white or, I don't know, she's just a female who can't fuck shit up.
She's a female.
A liberal
She's a liberal white woman. Oh, no, he's a sweetheart. He didn't do nothing wrong. Yeah.
Yep.
Here we go.
Wait a minute.
They're always coming to save the day, for.
Yeah.
Oh my god, hey, wait. So he's tasked with fixing the road that he destroyed when he was running from the cops.
Right.
And he takes his time, he half-asses it, and then he gets challenged to a race by Doc, the judge guy. He's like, oh, you're a race car, come race me, right? But Doc is aware that this nigga doesn't have any common sense. So he goes out with the race, and he's just racing out willy-nilly. Why'd you have me get into this, bro? This is gonna
Well,
take
so
forever.
basically, he
too
couldn't
long.
because Doc knows that there's different types of roads. Speed isn't always the key. Doc understands that sometimes you gotta go right when you mean to go left. Meaning sometimes you gotta go slow when you need to go. It's a difference is just full speed ahead. So that's the lesson he's trying to teach him. And the metaphor is showed by this turn that he can't make on the dirt road. Doc can hit the turn, but Lightning McQueen can't hit the turn. He tries. He learns a thing or two from Doc. He understands that. They go back to the race. The people came and because he got lost in this small town. Everybody else came and they're like, oh, we found Lightning McQueen. They snatch him up and he's all like, oh, but what about, now he's attached to these people. So they bring him back to California. And mind you, in the beginning of the movie, Lightning McQueen was an asshole. So he fired his pick. No, he didn't fire him. They quit. because they didn't like how he was treating them. So he gets a new pit crew, which is the people that he was in the town with. And, he instead of him going to win the race, which he was going to win, it was the 3-car race because it was a rematch. They ended up, the guy that, made him crash the first time made this other older guy crash, who was the third racer. He crashed and, burnt out real bad. Lightning McQueen threw the race to get him and help him finish the race because it was his last race. So that showed the character development from Lightning McQueen being like, oh, all the races winning. Then he's like, okay, well, I'm going to put others before me.
Shows the character development that Lightning McQueen received being surrounded by these conservatives, the rusty cars in Radiator Springs.
Yeah.
So he evolved as again, the black athlete who, we know black athletes be on that commie shit.
Yeah.
As we're going to discuss with this video of these people at this WNBA game.
Yeah, because in honor of George Floyd Day, we got some stuff. Yeah, it's ridiculous, bro. It is ridiculous.
So what I got from the Cars movie is that they predicted George Floyd. They predicted the tearing down the statues. Holy shit, fuck this. Simpsons Cars did it, No,
I'm serious. I'm like, bro, has anybody else seen this? This was blowing my mind.
It's deep.
Oh my goodness. Hot take of 2025. We've already got it. Big predictor. Cars, the movie. Go watch it.
Because that's crazy. That's honestly crazy. So let me try to pull this screen up.
I was following the whole Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark shit. I commented a little bit. I don't know if you heard about the two jackasses that were going back and forth about it.
I've seen the discourse. I don't really watch basketball, and I damn sure don't watch women basketball.
Hell yeah.
But I know that there's I think they only really doing this whole thing to kind of play into they're only doing the race narrative to get people to watch it, but people still not watching it because it's shit.
Y'all suck.
Fuck, Did you ever go to a women's basketball game? I went to a few. It's fucking terrible.
No.
Nah.
Who's playing tonight? I don't know. Number 62. She's fucking fat. Why are we watching her?
Right.
She's cute though. Hey, the number 45, she cute. She keep playing.
That's pretty much why people go. It's just for fan service. Yeah.
They're like, damn, she cute. We just gonna watch. That's it.
Literally. All right, let me know if you can hear this.
Thank you guys for taking a minute to honor the life of George Floyd. George was a father, a brother, and a son. And his life, like every life, held meaning. His death exposed the holes that are still in our justice and criminal institutions today. And his 5-year anniversary reminds us that we must continue the fight against criminal, racial, and social injustices.
There's nobody in the stands. Look at that.
Empty stadium.
Nobody there.
There's nobody in them seats. That's sad.
Nobody there.
They giving away tickets to these games.
You gotta be shitting me. They're serious about. You've got to be shitting me.
It's fun, and I think it's funny because they love saying you see the George Floyd meme in the back. There's a bunch of Twitter pages that's just memeing George Floyd, and then you see the blacks in the comments. Y'all just obsessed with black people. It's like no. You niggas are obsessed with George Floyd. Y'all obsessed with black people. Why are we 5 years in and y'all still announcing this nigga's death?
Yeah,
I'm not understanding that. It's weird.
Who cares about that?
Who cares, bro? Y'all made statues about it. Y'all made murals and shit. There's a mural. Well, it's not. Well, I mean, we're away from that shit now. But there's a mural in Houston because we moved from Chicago to Houston, and we're still not in Houston. We're outside of Houston.
Oh, shit.
But there's murals everywhere. Everybody's still talking about it. You can't even have a conversation with people about George Floyd when the facts have come out that he didn't die from he wasn't murdered. This stuff goes so deep because if you look up George Floyd autopsy right here, it tells you that AI tells you that it was ruled it ruled his death as a homicide. It says this is what it says in the autopsy. It doesn't say that in the autopsy. Mm-hmm. It doesn't. What it says in the autopsy is that there was no life-threatening injuries, and he had hella fentanyl in his body.
That's a fake autopsy.
This is from the Hennepin US. This is from their website. This is on their website.
It's AI.
This is the autopsy. It doesn't say anything. And then when you just compare, because it said that he died from cardiopulmonary arrest, right? And this is they're playing on people's ignorance. They think you're stupid because they think when you see that you're thinking, oh, but then you keep reading, oh, well, it says it's ruled his death as a homicide. Well, that contradicts this because when you look up what it actually is, it's when our heart stops beating or beats too fast. Why would your heart beat too fast? Because you're overdosing.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it's crazy. But
So,
people
you know,
they
Go ahead. My bad.
no, they do this stuff because they know people aren't really looking into it like that.
Well, they know that
Just-
black people. This is be honest. I'm going to be frank here. Black people just don't read, and we're not talking about
Yeah.
reading is like, oh, they can't look at the. They just don't. Reading is comprehension. You know, having an understanding of the text. You know, having an understanding
Yeah.
definition of words. That's not something that's taught. We look at the statistics when it comes to education in the black community. It's very poor.
Abysmal.
It's abysmal. It's terrible. You know, it's horrendous. It's depressing because you go and have a conversation with the average black person. They cannot fucking read. I went to a Walmart. This was about a few weeks back, and I opened carry. In Michigan, gun laws it's a purple state, so gun laws are okay. Then they're fucking stupid. But I open carry, and I have I still wear my army fatigue pants. You know, why not? I fucking earned it. I can wear it if I want to. So I'm open carrying. I'm in Walmart because you know Walmarts are like they're like Ukraine battlefields. You know, you don't know what the fuck is gonna happen. You know, I'm surprised a tank hasn't rolled through and we stepped on a landmine or something when I walk in there. You know,
Stop.
so I'm in Walmart with the wife, and you know she's getting some perfume for Grandma. It was for Mother's Day, right? Day before Mother's Day, and black kid comes over. He's opening the gate because everything's secure. They're like it's Fort fucking Knox and shit. You got to ask for like 20 different people to come and open some shit for you.
Ridiculous.
He comes over, and there's a black woman and her daughter. Her daughter looks like what was her name? Who was the girl that was dating T.I.? She had the big lips and shit like that. Tiny. Whatever.
Oh
Is
yeah,
it-
tiny.
oh, Tiny, right,
duh.
right.
Huge fucking lips. Like these lips are like fucking huge. Like she had Hubble Bubble attached to her lips. And then she had some blonde hair. It just looked a mess. She looked a mess.
Right.
So her daughter is doing whatever, you know, whoring out the aisle, and she's over there talking to us. And she's like, "Oh, you get to wear your gun because you in the army." I said, "Man, I've been at the army for
That's
about,
wild.
for about 8 months now." She's like, "But you can't be walking around like that." I'm like, "Yes, you can." So, you know,
Yes, you can.
you can do that. Yes, what are you talking about? Not over here. They gonna take that if you. We can't do that. You can do it because you in the army. I'm like, "No, I'm not." So then the guy chimes in, the cops will take that away. You lucky to be walking around free like that. I'm like, what the fuck are you guys talking about? Listen, like, what fucking country are you living in? I'm like, listen, go read your constitution.
They living
You have
in
every right
China,
to bear
bro.
arms. Like,
Oh
what?
my god.
They're not living in China. These niggas are living.
Alberts.
They're living in nigga land. I don't know what the fuck they're talking about because
man.
like you can walk around with a weapon if you want to. I have no criminal record. I'm ex-military. I don't have any problems legally. Yeah, I can walk around. Now I don't know what you niggas are doing, what y'all got on y'all records,
Right.
Where y'all can't walk around with fucking, with sidearms and shit. But don't
man.
sit here and tell me. And the funny thing is, I told her like, know your rights, have an understanding of your rights. Read your constitution. She's like, I know my rights, and then she showed me a tattoo on her back that said, "Know your rights." I'm like, no fucking way, no fucking way. I'm like, unbelievable. I'm
Oh,
like,
wow.
this can't be fucking real. Me and my wife, she's just laughing. She's thinking, the lady's thinking that she's laughing with her and shit. No, we're laughing at you because you're this
At
fucking
you.
stupid. Unbelievably
They don't
fucking
even know.
stupid.
That's amazing. That is
Oh.
truly. You can't make this shit up.
Bro, that is crazy. That
Not her having a know your rights tattoo. Bitch, why did you get that?
The
Why did
fucking
you get
irony.
that? What was the motivation?
I don't know what the fuck made her get that, but she's stupid. Like, what the fuck? is wrong?
Yeah,
It must have been for abortion.
I
or
say
something.
that the black community they live like they're like 60 years in the past. They still fighting the Jim Crow fight. They still fighting the civil rights movement. It's like no matter how much progress they get, they still want more. That's what I feel like I use this term very loosely. We should treat them. We should negotiate with them like terrorists. Like you don't negotiate with terrorists. You don't give them what they want because once you give them what they want, they're like, "Oh, we can hold you." They're gonna keep asking for stuff. You don't give them what they want because
Ever.
they still begging for
If
stuff.
you
They
give a
still-
mouse a cookie, he's gonna want some milk and some more shit. Don't give him anything.
Yeah, don't get
Yeah.
shit.
Tell him to get a
Come
job.
back. Yeah. We just really have to be harsh. There needs to be a better representation of people like us.
Yes.
Because I feel that a lot of people, normal black people, we're just going to talk about, we're not going to add white people or anybody else, just talk about black people
Right.
in general. When they think of black conservatives, and I don't really take on the black conservative, moniker, I don't really do that, because I don't think I need to identify as a black conservative. I'm a conservative. I'm very right wing. If you want to call me far right, I've interacted with some very
Definitely far right.
far right individuals, all that. But our image and how we represent ourselves needs to go past this, cookie cutter, I'm trying to think of it, boarding school look that we have. People do jump to the Key and Peele Republican black.
Yeah.
They do jump to that, and I think that is a real thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's a real
Yeah,
fucking
I've
thing.
actually noticed that just being in this space. I'm like, wow, it's like these people. The stereotypes are kind of true.
Yeah, it's
okay?
very true. It's very true. Some of these people act like this, and I just I'm going to go into an example, and I'm going to talk about it. I think actually you commented on one of my videos I did. People were attacking Candace Owens because of her.
Oh
stance on
yeah.
Israel.
Yup. Oh my
Right.
god.
And I saw people, and I'm gonna call this guy out because I really just don't really like his content. Fuck him, I really don't care. His name is Aquarius Wave or something like that. Aquarius something. I think that he's a goofy, goofy individual. I also think that Brandon Tatum is a goofy individual. Officer Brandon Tatum. He follows me on Instagram. I think he's a nice guy. I like his content, but I think these guys are very goofy because they were attacking Candace Owens, and then when the Shiloh Hendricks stuff came out, they're like, yeah, we need to call people hard R's. I'm like, I don't know, we need to call people hard R's. I get it, but I'm not going to sit back and support this woman, entirely because she just, called a 5-year-old the hard R. And do I think it's funny? Like, shit's hilarious. Like, it's funny as hell. But, is she weird for calling a 5-year-old a hard R? Yes, like, she's weird as hell.
Yeah.
But
Right,
is
go
it
find a mama.
necessary? Yeah, is it necessary? Given what's happened with the Carmelo Anthony stuff and all that, yeah, I think it's reactionary, it's necessary, but still, in the perfect world or any normal America, say maybe 20 years ago, it wouldn't be okay.
Yeah.
But these guys are like, yeah, it's cool, and yeah, we're like, are you fucking stupid? Like, we don't need that. This is the Key and Peele Republican shit that people are talking about.
Yeah.
It's just goofy. We need to start talking about solutions. Now, I'm all about right now for the next year or so, I'm all about provoking and getting people to wake up and hear the honest truth. But of course, eventually we need to start talking about solutions because we just can't keep saying like, well, you niggas are bad and niggas wrong because anybody can do that. It's very easy.
Right.
Yeah.
We need to start talking about how we can build an actual infrastructure. How can we revive and repair our image? And not just repair our image, but look forward for something that's new, something that's actually that represents us now. Because I'm assuming you guys are in your 20s, maybe mid to late 20s. I'm in my mid 20s, right? We're going to be here for the foreseeable future. We're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
So in the next generation of leaders, we're going to have someone within our generation that's going to be a president, that's going to be a senator, that's going to be, think about that in the Supreme Court. The Gen X and
True.
the boomers are fucking dying. So what is our representation? We complain about the image of black people. The image of black people, the representation of black men and women. What is our image? What is our representation going forward? If it's still going to be this Key and Peele Republican Party, this, I would say Larry Elder, 1980s Republican, conservative shit, it's not attractive. Nobody's going
Right.
to care about that.
Yep.
So
Right.
that's my entire focus. I think a lot of these black conservatives out here don't really have a focus on the future. It says, well, we need more black fathers in the household. Like, that's okay, buddy. I agree, we do. But let's get to the root of the issue and let's come up with solutions to make sure that we can get what we want and go further. That's what it is. So I don't know what you guys think
Yeah.
about that.
No,
I
I
agree.
completely agree. And we do need to start planning for the future. I think what the first we need to do is we need to recognize that we have an issue.
Yeah.
The issue, and that's why we are provoking. That's why we online and we provoke them when we call them names and stuff.
Got
We
this
troll.
on TV.
Yeah, we troll because I want your attention. Now that I got your attention, listen to what I'm saying. You're probably not gonna and understand what I'm saying. If we're gonna have an honest conversation, we need to be able to have honest conversations. But it's like it's very like spontaneous. We moved away from Chicago because Chicago is like going to hell in a handbasket. It's just like it's violence everywhere. It's getting too expensive. They're taking money out of our pocket every time you leave the house. It's just ridiculous, and nobody seems to really care about it. They're all just kind of like, oh well, the government's racist, so it is what it is. It's like, what the hell?
Literally.
It's like, what? So
Are you serious?
and then it's like, well, they worry about white people so much that they're not even paying attention to what's happening in their neighborhood. And it's like, how many? If when I was in Chicago, you could damn near ask, okay, get a room full of 100 black people in the South Side of Chicago. Raise your hand if you know somebody that killed somebody. 95% of them will raise their hand. Raise your hand if you know somebody that got killed by somebody. Everybody will raise their hand. You know, so it's like that in itself. Like, there's no white people involved with that.
Literally.
Yeah.
There's
None.
no like. So we need to start holding ourselves accountable. This whole snitches get stitches stuff, like. Cause I make music. I do I make beats. I make instrumentals and stuff. And I do hip hop music. And for a while I was heavily invested in the hip hop scene, and I was making like, you know, I never game banged or nothing like that, but I was making music with a lot of those game bangers and making a lot of that degenerate ass music. But even when I was doing it, you know, at some point I was like, and this shit's evil, bro. Like this shit is really having consequences. And it's like, man, I know it's my job, but like, man, can we make something better?
It's
you know, like,
positive,
yeah, something a little bit better. Because if it's not murder music, it's crying about somebody that murdered your friend. You know, so it's like, damn, where's the family music? Where's the upbeat?
What happened to
positive-
Motown?
Right, you know, that type of stuff.
Let's go back to the '90s with hip hop. You know, let's go back to Hieroglyphics and I don't know, what Tribe Called Quest. I mean, they still make decent music, but this shit's crybaby stuff as well. Let's
Yeah.
go back to that conscious. I like that. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed '90s and 2000s hip hop compared to the shit today. Today, it's just like, you know, I shot this nigga at his funeral, motherfucker. You know, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
shit? I want to hear this
Yeah.
shit.
What is wrong with you niggas?
Fuck
What is
these
the
two bitches in
problem?
the pool? Like, nigga, you okay? Like, you need some.
And let's
help,
not even
nigga?
start with a female rap. That's
Oh,
a whole
my
other
goodness.
topic.
So Detroit, you know, I'm from Detroit, and I want to go back to there's a George Floyd mural on 8 Mile in John R. I'm gonna go to probably tomorrow and just like record, like, look at this shit and talk some shit. I'm gonna piss off a lot of people.
Of course.
But two things. I wanted to bully this little Detroit rapper. It's a female rapper. She makes dog shit music. I think her name is Boss V. Like, what the fuck are you a boss of? Like, she's very small. Like, a boss of what? I mean, probably a boss in the bed. I don't mind that. But, bitch, you're not a boss of anything. You know, like, keep it fucking real. And then there's another one. One that just got shot in Detroit. Skilla Baby. I don't know if you guys know who
Yeah.
Skilla
Oh
Baby
yeah.
is.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, honestly, I don't want him to die or be killed. I think it's horrible that he's been shot, and hopefully makes a smooth recovery. But the way that black people, anytime these entertainers get shot or something happens to them, we're the first ones to run and, you know, oh my goodness, how horrible, how terrible Deshaun Jaquavius, a.k.a. Killer Nigga's family, got shot. How terrible. And it's like, oh, he wasn't even related to no gang violence. Like, why am I glorifying these people? Of course, we don't want anyone to die. We want people to live and have full lives. I think he's 26. He's 2 years older than me. Same generation, right? Probably grew up in the same area. I don't want this person to be dead, but I'm not going to sit back and support this lifestyle, this culture, and embrace
Right.
it, and to reward it. And like, oh, you know, I'm going to sit back and focus on it. No, I'm going to focus on what was he involved in and criticize that.
Right.
I'm going to pray that his family is well and that he's well, but I'm not going to sit back and clap and cheer. Once I find out, oh, you're involved in that kind of shit, that's when we need to start condemning them and say, well, you know what, this is the life that you decide to live, and this is
Yeah.
what you get. You get what you pay for.
You know, they love saying fuck around and find out. When you in that life, you,
Yeah,
you
till
fuck
you're
around
black.
and find out.
Till you're black, yeah, till you're black. They're all for it when, you know, you're white or... let's get off white people. Let's look at the other mind. That's my biggest thing, is that we know that white people, black people and white people have a shared history, both good and bad in this country. I think it's a beautiful history and experience that we have between each other. But other minorities, Hispanics, Arab Americans, right, Asian Americans, that's a relationship that black people really don't want to talk about because it's not a good one. They try to do this black and brown alliance. These niggas not coming for you. The cholos are not coming for you. You know, they're not gonna come hang with you at the laundromat. I don't know why niggas think that hanging at laundromats are okay and cool now. I've seen it. Got one up on the corner here. They're up here every night, you know, hanging around and shit. They're not even washing clothes. The clothes are dirty as fuck.
And then when a business closed, they're gonna be confused.
The thing is that this business has been open since, I think it opened in '95. I've been alive for 24 years. I've seen people up here all my life hanging up here, and it still hasn't been closed. You know, these are the 24-hour
That's why they have.
laundromats.
That's why they
Oh,
have
yeah.
no loitering signs. That shit's it's a rule, not a suggestion.
So
They don't care about that.
here's the funny thing is that I think the place, so Detroit, because of the crime, they have this green light program. So they have certain businesses that can enroll in the green light program. That means that, you know, police will patrol these areas. You can go to these areas if there's any kind of crime or violence. So it's supposed to be a safe area, protected area.
Oh, yeah, that
Them
sounds like
niggas-
Safe Passage in Chicago.
Yeah, these
Same
niggas
type
over
of
here,
thing.
they sit up there, they drink all the time, and there's no killing or anything that's going up there, but it's just they drink all night, they play loud fucking music all day. And I can tell you this: when I was a kid, I was going to Jesuit Catholic Elementary, a private school here in Detroit. I would get up every morning at 6 a.m., go to school about 7 o'clock. That's how early we had to get up. And I swear, every morning I would get up and look outside the window and see who's outside. These niggas would be in a line going to the liquor store. The liquor store on the corner here didn't open up until about 8.
A
These
line?
niggas
That's
would go down the
ridiculous.
street to go and get liquor and come back and sit up on a tree. They cut the tree down now, but now they're up at the laundromat. So just think about that. That's how dysfunctional and how broken our people are, is that they're willing to get up at 6 a.m., 7 a.m., to go and walk a mile to go get a drink. I'm not talking about, a bunch of, retired men that, just came back from a war. We're talking about people in their 30s, in their 40s, maybe some in their 50s, get up every morning to go and get a drink. And I'm going to school, and I got to sit back and I got to watch that. What do you think that does to a young child that, really doesn't have a good household, a good upbringing? They see that, and like, this is how you're supposed to live. This is what you do. They
Yeah,
see
it's
that.
Kinda
yeah,
black
you know,
pills.
especially
It's
the
very
little
black
boys, especially the little boys who don't have any dads around. These are the men that they see.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, this must be what a dad's supposed to be doing.
This is what
This
dad's
is the
supposed to
only
be doing.
example they got.
This
That's
is what the
sad.
men do. Yeah, this is what the men do. Men get up every morning, they drink. It's disgusting. But this is the image and representation of our people. And like I said, going back to what I think that black conservatives, or people who are, I would say, right wing, a lot of us who are racially conscious, who are in the black community, who want better for black people, we have to set a standard, and we have to make sure that we are building a counterculture. Not just saying, oh, these things are bad, but saying these things are bad and then doing what we know is best and representing that in the best way so other people can follow. Because if we don't do it, there is nobody that's going to come and save us. There's nobody that's going to come and help
Yep.
us. There's nobody that's going to come and give us a hand. Nobody has to do that. It's just like in life. I'm sure, I'm married. You two are married. Nobody's going to help them. You go through your problems as, husband and spouse or financially. Nobody comes and save you. Mommy and daddy's not going to come and save you. Your neighbor's not going to come and save you. It's up to you to make these things right. It's up to you
Yep.
to make sure these things are taken care of. Nobody's going to come and pay your bills for you. Nobody's going to come and, when he's sick and, you got bills on the table, oh, I'm going to have to go and work or do. Nobody's going to come and give you a check. And this is the problem. Black people think that, the biggest problem we have, we buy what we want and we beg for what we need. And we don't realize that it's not working in our favor to continue doing that. So, yeah.
Yep. No lies told.
No, you're
0.
absolutely right.
0 lies.
You're absolutely right. We do need to to manufacture a counterculture.
Yeah.
And lead by
we need to
example.
lead by- yeah,
Aggressively.
exactly. Lead by example.
Aggressively lead by example.
It's one thing to just, and that's how you could tell a grifter, that they're not practicing what they're preaching. You could sit there and condemn the black community all you want, but if you doing the same thing or even worse, who are you to judge? And it's not even that what you're saying isn't true, but you just know that people are conditioned to attack your character if you're not standing on what you believe in. So if you're an easy target, yeah, they're gonna knock you down. So you have to be able to lead by example and show people what it's like to actually do it. Like people in the community, like we see when people get their money, what's the first thing they do? They leave. Because it's not safe and it's not wise to be having this much motion in the community because everybody else doesn't have that motion, and it builds resentment because they sharing clothes and you walking around in Amiri and Dior pants and stuff, and you driving cars and and it's like it seems like the culture is like so. It's so negative in the sense that everything is wrong. Like, if you have money and you're around people that don't have money, why would you flex all your money to the people that don't have money? Like, why?
Exactly.
That's
I've
stupid,
never
God.
understood. I've never understood that mentality. And my grandfather was the biggest influence in my life. My father was killed like a few months before I was born. So, but my grandfather lived right next door to us. So I saw him every day. He was lost my father, but then he took the place, and almost every day I was with my grandfather. He would take me to the barbershop every Saturday. I used to love going. It was fun. And I remember one of the guys, God bless his heart, God bless his family, Hardy, used to ask, Mr. Worms, why don't you have Andre wearing, all the new clothes and all this? You don't give him designer. You don't give him. It's like, why am I going to care about what he's got on his ass? I care more about what's in his head. And that stuck with me for the rest of my life. And I would tell people that.
That's beautiful.
Yeah,
That's beautiful.
Why am I going to give a damn about what's across his ass and what he's got on his feet when that's going to come off? When it's in his head, it stays there forever. And this is the problem with black people, is that we put more time and investment into, what we look like rather than how we think and how we are. And that's why nothing gets done. That's why no one goes anywhere. That's why nobody has anything, because we're so focused on getting the material. And the material that we need, we avoid and we neglect for things that are only temporary. Like I said, it goes back to black people buy what they want and beg for what they need. At the end of the day, they don't understand the difference between a want and a need. Everything is want, want, want. I want a new car, nigga. Shit, I need to give me new shoes, nigga. Shit, nigga, fuck that. I can give me a check. It's like, well, nigga, do you take care of your kids? Even if you don't have any kids. Fuck if you don't got no kids. Because if you even don't have any kids, let's put it this way. What are you doing to build yourself as a young man, as a young woman, whatever? What are you doing to invest in yourself? Because there's two things you get paid for.
Right, what you doing for your future kids?
What are you doing for the future kids, right? There's two things you get paid for, your time and your talent. If you invest time into your talent, you're going to get paid more. If you put time into something, you're going to get paid for it. All of that. Black people just think that things just happen to exist and they happen to fall in their lap. It don't fucking work like that. You've got to invest in yourself and invest in what you have. So, yeah.
They waiting on the reparations.
Are you familiar with this guy? He's an African dude. His name's Frank Zanu.
I've heard the name. It's familiar. Enlighten me.
Oh, yeah. You would
Yeah,
love this place.
he has like the Project Rethink, and like I say, he's from a tribe in Africa, and he has such a profound way of like describing concepts and explaining like the issues within the community and even the issues within Africa.
You should put a clip on.
Yeah, I think if I don't know if I'll be able to find a clip
It's on
right
Instagram.
now, but yeah, probably Instagram. But he basically like was talking about how he was saying why Africa would never develop,
2 seconds.
why it'll never become a first world country, and he was explaining the concept of maintenance. And he was saying like from his tribe, he was talking to some people that's from his tribe as well, and they speak their native tongue, and he was asking them, in our tongue, what's the word for maintenance? They don't have it. So that type of thing is like, that's why when the white people, or even, I mean, it's mainly white people, but when other people come and they build infrastructure and industry, and then they get ran out for whatever, like what's happening in South Africa. They get ran out of South Africa and they leave all the stuff. It goes to shit because nobody's maintaining it. Nobody's taking the proactive steps to keep this stuff going. Because that's the main thing. Like hitting the lottery. You hit the lottery and then you go broke a couple years later because you don't know how to maintain, you don't know how to flip it, you don't know how to invest. You can make the money, you can go to work and make the money, but what you gonna do once you get it? How are you gonna maintain this stream of income? How are you gonna keep it going? So I think I see a lot of that within our community as well, because it's mainly just, like I said, not maintaining, not really taking the steps to preserve what you got.
Exactly. And that's the biggest problem, is that we don't want to maintain the thing we have. We want someone else to come do it. It's somebody else's responsibility. This is a lack of teaching, how to be responsible. That's what it comes down fundamentally, because you can put someone in charge of maintaining whatever. We do this in the military. I'm going to put you in charge to maintain this, to watch this, to do that. But if they don't have an understanding of what it means to be responsible and take ownership and identify the problems, problem identification, ownership, if they don't have an understanding of that, then they're not going to go anywhere.
Right.
You look at some of the predominantly black cities. I live in one, Detroit. It's 82% black here, and it runs like shit. The school system is poor.
Yeah.
I just left down from Alabama. I was down there in the Black Belt near Camden, Alabama, near Marion. About a few minutes from Selma. And the school system's poor. The structure down there's poor. Now it's the South. I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to make a prediction. I think in 20 years, a lot of those places down south that you see is going to be developed. We're looking right now. We're in the 1960s in terms of development, how it looks, how poor it is now in terms of how it looks in development. We're in that time period. In 20 years, it's going to be more developed. Look at your cities that you had in the 1960s, 1980s, and how it was developed and how it was maybe far back and not as developed as it is today. I think the South in 20 years is going to be filled with a lot more cities and towns that are way more. Cause you go down there and look at it; it's beautiful. They're
Yeah.
really trying to modernize it. So
Yeah,
bet you
we,
20 years it's gonna be built up.
Moving from Chicago to Texas, I see that they are doing so much building.
Yeah.
So
like
much.
they are building so like it's a new town.
More than we ever seen in
It's
Chicago.
just like there's new neighborhoods being built, new buildings, just a lot of industry down here. It's crazy. Like if you had like a trade, you come down here and just have work
Yep.
forever.
Yep.
Because there's always something being developed. And that's really what inspired me to come down here. Because once I got into carpentry, I was like, man, I could need to move to Texas.
Yeah.
You know, get some handiwork in. But it's so much opportunity down here. And I do think it might even happen sooner than 20 years. The way they build down here, 15 max 10
15?
almost. Because it's happening fast. I haven't seen much of that in Chicago. It's in Chicago. It
Bro,
took
you
them.
think about downtown?
Bruh, it
like that,
took-
they had construction since I was born.
Dude,
downtown.
they've been working on that expressway for like 20 years.
And it just be an empty construction area. Like, what's going on?
It's like, bruh.
I mean, even with the Obama Library they're throwing up in Hyde Park, they've been talking about that since I was a child, and they just started developing it. I don't know when they gonna open it,
Wow.
but
Yeah.
they moved
And people
some
were
stuff
saying that
for a progressive place.
people were saying that Obama library is like it's like shit. Like they was looking at the foundation, it's all cracky and stuff. It's not even done,
Shit could've
and it's
fallen.
already flaws in the foundation.
Think about
And
that.
they were, yeah,
You know, my opinion on Obama, of course, politically, you know, on a different side, but you know, Obama was good in terms of good representation and good image for black people. Of course, we may disagree with
Oh,
policy
yeah.
and politics, but in terms of his leadership, his speaking style, his cadence, you know, he didn't come into office and be a nigga. He didn't come in office
Right.
with nigga attitudes and nigga mindset.
Compared
he
to somebody like
represented-
Jasmine Crockett.
Yeah, he represented
Day
what
and night.
a black man, and even Michelle. We may not like Michelle. I can't stand her. You know, I think Michelle. I think Michelle a nigga. I think she can play ball with me one of these days. But the way that she represented herself as a black woman. Now, I do think that she was, you know, a little masculine for her role, but I still think that she was feminine in many other ways. It was good. They were the image of what black people should be and what black people should aspire to be, regardless of the politics, regardless of where they land politically, the image and representation. That's what we need. And you don't really see that anymore. That's gone. So we traded from what could have been this new image for black people, this new direction for black people, and we allow the rich blacks, as I call the simple Negroes, right, the financial elite within the black community, the entertainers, and you allowed niggas to ruin that. Niggas and niggers to ruin that. Whereas normal black people like us, we don't get to have that, what we wanted to see, what we wanted for our people. That has been completely removed. So when you look at a lot of these areas, right, they're building, and I think it's terrible because you've got something like the Obama Library. It's like, wow, that's beautiful. And it doesn't even work, it's the foundation's poor, the quality of the material is shitty. Think about that. For someone who is a shining example of black excellence and success and achievement for black people, doesn't even get the respect to have a good building or something that's built with good foundation. That really is depressing. It's depressing as fuck. Imagine that you work this hard to get to the highest level in this country. Being the president of the United States, you are going to be written within the annals of history. No matter what you do, even after you're president, you will be remembered as the president of the United States, the most powerful nation in the world. So that means that even if this nation were to fall, tomorrow, someone is going to remember the United States was here and this was one of its last presidents. Obama's going to be one of that. So think about that. That in 200 years, if that building stands that long and it stays forever shitty, they're going to look at it and say, this piece of shit, Yeah, at the Obama Library, and it's got graffiti and shit in the bathroom. Somebody's fucking in the bathrooms.
got a mural on it.
Yeah, they got a ghetto mural with some, some squiggle shit. Following
And let's not
SoundCloud.
even skip over the fact that they are allegedly Michelle Obama and Obama are allegedly like splitting or something. Like they're not even showing up together at certain events. So with this whole library, I'm like, are they gonna like what's gonna happen? It's gonna be some craziness.
Yeah.
Because by the time they throw that library up, they might not even be together anymore.
Yeah, it's definitely seeming like the image that he had, the uptight image is being it's being knocked down before our eyes.
Literally in
You
real
know,
time.
Like, if they were splitting, that shouldn't be none of our business. No, we shouldn't be. We shouldn't be. We shouldn't even know about that. But it's just the it's the look. It's the look of this once great black man just being knocked off his throne, basically, even it's unfortunate to say the least.
To emasculate him, that's what it is, because they want
Yeah.
to give
Yep.
Michelle the spotlight, which
Yeah, exactly. She got
honestly, no, she
podcasts
should,
and stuff.
she shouldn't get the spotlight. You know, she already has a spotlight of being the first lady, of being the first lady to the first black.
And
president.
she has the spotlight of ruining all our public school legends between 2008
Fucking yes, she did.
2006.
We'll never forget that shit, bitch. We will never forget that. We will never forget.
Nobody's
the
gonna forget that.
great public school food holocaust of the 2000s. We will never
Thank
forget
It was
Michelle.
horrible.
We will always remember. Let me tell you this: when that bitch dies, God forbid, hopefully we should never, no time soon, we gonna celebrate like that bitch. She ruined our food.
Took all the vending machines out the schools and all
Yes.
that craziness.
The fucking hot dogs had these spots and shit, pink spots
Oh
and shit
man.
on it. Damn
Ruined
it!
everything.
And like I said,
Yeah.
I started off at private school, and they used to cook in the school. And they changed when she
Damn.
got in. They changed that shit. They started doing the process. Man, we hated that shit. It was terrible.
So the private schools are privately funded, right?
Yes, yeah. Jesu Catholic
Okay.
Elementary is privately funded, from what I know. This is one of the one I went to, and then down the street you've got Detroit Mercy, which I think is privately funded, and you have Mary Grove College, which was privately funded. They got rid of that about 2 years ago. It's a big, probably one of the biggest Catholic universities in Michigan. It's gone.
So if you could compare the public schools to the private schools, what would you say would be the main differences?
I would say today, really no difference. You're going to get better focus. The kids are going to be focused on more attention and less, because you're there. You're paying for your child to go there, so all the bullshit's going to be knocked down.
Yeah.
However, we know that in this country, education is not of quality. It's really not.
Nope. It's
You look
trash.
at China. Not even look at China. Look at some of the more Western aligned countries. Look at Japan, Korea. Look at Finland, Norway. Their education system focuses more on not of getting you a diploma and getting you out the door, but how can we make sure you're a productive member within society? Teachers in Japan are respected just as much as veterans are. They're revered just as much as doctors are. And in this country, we don't give a fuck about teachers. I'm sure you guys bullied your teacher just like I did. I
Certainly.
bullied the shit out of my teachers.
Never.
You never did. I think you were the quiet one. in the
My
back.
mom, yeah, I was. Well, my
Yeah,
mom
you
was a
was.
teacher, so I couldn't play like that. I couldn't play like that.
I'll get into my story about my school experience in a second. But when you think about it, I'm big on education reform. And I'm going to say this. I intend on running for office in the next few years, in the next decade or so.
Yes.
That's something I really want to get into. We need to reform the education system. I'm going to be very hard on black schools. There's a lot. My expectations for black schools it needs to be. But there's some black schools here in Detroit that do fantastic. I look at the SAT scores is what I look at. SAT scores and what kind of programs they offer for the school for the kids. And there's some that do very well in Detroit, surprisingly. But you've got to test to get into the school. You've got to test to get into school. And a lot of these kids, they get into the school and they test well, but they don't stay because of behavior issues, and they get out. So you have a handful of them that actually make it through and they do well, and that's why their numbers are good. But getting into my school experience, when I was in school, I went to Jesu Catholic Elementary, and I got kicked out around the time the the Trayvon Martin case was getting big. And I was big on, I don't give a fuck if he's black. What did he do? I was damning all these.
You were like 10.
I was like 8 years old at the time. No. This was what, 2012. I was about
Yes,
12
I
years
was like
old.
11. Yeah.
I was like 12 years old. Yeah. So I didn't give a fuck. I was like, oh, he's black. So what? Why do we have to defend this guy? I remember even Obama being like, oh, we got to support him because he's black. I'm not supporting him because
Could have been my son.
Yeah, because my grandfather, he was a big McCain. I fucking hate McCain. McCain is terrible now being older. But he was a big McCain supporter and a big Romney supporter at the time. I supported McCain with my grandfather because he was Vietnam. But my grandfather would talk shit about my McCain. He was a jackass, Yeah, because he was in the Navy as well. He did 44 years in the Navy. And he did not like McCain. Like, everybody liked McCain. I'm going to vote for him because, I don't like Obama. Which was just weird to hear him say. But I remember getting kicked out from one of the new liberal principals that were coming, Miss Lauren. She was a very liberal white woman. And this is a Catholic school. And they said, we're getting too many complaints from the teachers and from the parents that, Andre is talking about how he doesn't like Obama, and he doesn't like the, Trayvon Martin case, and, so they said,
Oh my
you can't
God,
come
you're an
back to the school.
icon.
Yeah, they're like,
you're an
you can't-
icon. You were a child.
I was a child. They're like, you cannot come back to the school. And my parents were pissed because they were paying, I think, at the time, it'd be $4,000 a year for me to go to school. I think at the time, don't quote me wrong, at the time, $4,000 was like, you know, it wasn't that much, but it was like, damn, you're paying a decent amount of money for it.
That's what.
So they were fucking pissed. And I remember being sent to this African school that was on 8 Mile and Chippewa, if I'm not mistaken. It was called Aisha Shule. It was named after Du Bois, W.E.D. Du Bois, named after him. But they called it Aisha Shule. It was African rights, black power school. It was crazy.
What the hell?
Yeah. School only lasted about a year. But at the time I enrolled at school, they got shut down the next year. And they were in there telling black people that, 9/11 was the inside job to go into Africa and the Middle East to kill brown people, and George Bush is the devil. Yeah, that's what they were talking. You had to call the teachers Mama and Baba. I got to play the djembe, so I know how to play the djembe. We had to look.
Bro, is that worse at your school?
Bro, that's worse than mine. I can't
Yeah, that was-
believe that this shit happened to you. That's
Damn.
Yeah, dude. And we had 2 white teachers. They were racist as fuck to the white teachers, kicked them out. It was just terrible. Yeah, you had to address the teachers Mama and Baba. I was not about that shit. So, one thing I did
Mama
when I
and
first got-
Baba. What
Yeah. So when I got to, we used to have assembly every morning. And like I said, I went to Catholic school. We said the Pledge of Allegiance every morning. That was something that was a common thing if you grew up in the 2000s, saying the 90s and 2000s.
Right.
We get to this school. Instead of doing the Pledge of Allegiance, they did the pledge to the Black National Anthem. And they would have the Pan-African flag. So I would turn around. They would have the American flag in the back, and I would turn around and not, put my hand up and salute the flag. I did that every morning. And I would get kicked out to a point where they told me, you can't come back inside the assembly anymore. And I would get a lot of fucking trouble. I just didn't believe in that. I am about my black identity. I love black people. Love black history. But
So
we
you're
live in this
like-
country. We live in this country.
like-
And I'm not for that, If we're going to have both flags up there, I'm all right with that. But don't sit back and have me singing an anthem to this when I know,
It's
coming from a
fake
military
flag.
family. Yeah, coming to a military family, coming from a family that have served, going back since the beginning of this country, almost in every conflict, minor and large. Why am I going to sit back and salute and pledge allegiance to a flag that's not even, it's not even a country. It's an identity. Pan-Africanism, it's an identity. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. Take it as you may, whatever your opinion of it. But it's not something that I can connect with as a kid that growing up in a very patriotic household. It's not something I can identify with. So yeah, I got kicked out of the assembly all the time. So when I left that fucking school, I went to Legacy Charter Academy. My little sister's going there at the moment. I don't really care about putting my identity. I am going. But a lot of people try to find me and do shit. I don't really have nothing to hide. She's going to this school now. I went to the school. And this is where I started to really find myself and understand that I'm not going to be like anyone other than me. There's no point of trying to fit in with these people. You are Andre Williams. You can't fit in with any of these people. You can't agree with any of them. They're not going to ever accept you, so just be you. When I went to high school, that's when things started to shine in terms of my politics. I would debate the teachers, and I got kicked out of high school, the high school I was going to, Madison Heights High School, because I had 2 liberal teachers. One was in the Army Reserves, and she was a dyke, big dyke, white dyke.
Big dyke.
Huge fucking dyke, like extreme. I could tell that she was in the reserves because she was fucking fat. She wasn't built, she was fat. I'm like, of course you're in the fucking reserves. And it was like this skinny little black girl. She was kind of hot at the time, I'll tell you that. She was hot. But she was a teacher, and she had the nose ring and the piercings everywhere and shit. It was like, okay. I remember getting in an argument with them about Trump. And I would argue every day with all my teachers about Trump and about politics and about just everything and get kicked out of class. I didn't give a fuck. So they finally got in an argument about feminism and all this other. I think this was during the Me Too movement and shit. So you can't say
Oh
that
my
about
God.
women. So what the nail on the head was that I called one of the girls. She was asking me a question. This is a math class, by the way. And we just start, I'm talking politics. This is like a random time. We're just sitting there having a conversation as we're doing our work. And the teacher's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Talking about Trump and blah, blah, blah. He's a Nazi. I'm like, he's not a Nazi. He's like, whatever. And one of the girls just asked me a question. I'm like, sweetheart, what were you saying? I just, that was something I always did. Sweetheart, how you doing? I always use sweetheart as a way to address women. I've always did that. How you doing, sweetheart? Good morning, sweetheart. I always do that. She's like, what did you call her?
Oh my God.
I repeated it again. Like I said, sweetheart over here asked me a question. She was cute, so I was flirting in a degree. Like, I was doing my thing. Like, get the fuck out of my classroom. She didn't say get the fuck up. I was like, get out. They sent me to the office, and the teacher sat back and lied, saying I was being sexist in the classroom and sexist towards them. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? So they said, you can't come back, and they sent me to the school down the
That's
street.
crazy.
They sent me to the school down the street, and it was a mess from there. And I, constantly was arguing back and forth with the teachers and shit. So
Bro, you are a legend.
I don't want to say a legend.
You remind me of Huey from Boondocks, but not like he's on that radical he's like you're like the opposite of him, but kind of like him as a kid.
Yeah.
Because I can't believe that she was getting kicked out of all these damn schools. That's crazy as hell.
It
Did
was,
you even go to school?
I went to
it seems
school. I
you didn't-
graduated. I got my diploma. And I had this conversation with my mother. I'm like, why didn't y'all defend me? Like, we could have had a lawsuit. She's
Literally.
like, as you got older, like, nigga, you could have did that yourself if you was a little more smarter and savvy with this shit. So I used to hate that he used to do that. My grandfather would send me to school and feed me ammunition, like, say this, say that. And my mother would come over and it's like, Dad, don't give him ammunition. He gonna take this shit to school and I'm gonna get a call. And sure enough, I would take that shit to school and she would get the biggest call. Cause I would take what he said and go like times 10. And he would come back and say, well, I didn't tell you to say all that now. I'm like, well, you told me to say X, Y, and Z. And it was
got
funny.
in the moment and it
That is
just
crazy.
came out.
That's actually the most iconic story I've ever heard about the school system. Because you graduated when?
I graduated 2018. 2019. That's when I graduated.
29. All right, so you're free. So that's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's crazy.
That's the African school might
Right,
actually
what the?
been
I need
worse.
to look into that because
That might be worse than the school she went to, because she went to a damn Marxist
I
indoctrination
went
camp.
to
Oh, shit.
Holy
a
crap.
charter school called Gary Comer College Prep on the south side of Chicago. And in this school, I had basically all white teachers, but the school was like 99.9% black. And I just remember, for example, in 2016 when Trump won, my English teacher was spending the entire class period crying and telling us how sad she was for us to have to grow up in such a horrible racist country. And I took a class called Race, Class, and Gender Studies my senior year, and it was taught by a black man. And in that class, I was taught that a man could become a woman and all this other crazy stuff. I learned about things like PWIs and HBCUs, and I almost went away to Howard University after I graduated, but by the grace of God, I did not. Because I was a straight A student, so I would have ended up becoming a full blown Marxist for sure. I would have got discovered, and I probably would have been on TV, getting embarrassed on CNN somewhere because I definitely.
I would love to.
I definitely
got my
would have got
GI Bill.
indoctrinated.
I got my GI Bill, and I would love to go to Howard.
You would love to go. You gonna get kicked out. They might arrest you.
But I'm gonna make a fucking scene before I do that shit. At least I'm not paying. I got my GI Bill.
Right,
I'm
yeah.
paying for it.
Don't waste your money.
Yeah, yeah.
That's craziness.
At least the government's paying for it, right? It's beautiful, right?
Yeah, that is remarkable, bro. That is very remarkable.
It's extremely remarkable to know that she went through all this.
No, it
It never
it's a nice
changed.
story. It's a nice story I can tell on the campaign trail. In
Oh
10,
yeah,
20
for
years,
sure.
You know?
Please,
Yeah.
do.
Great
Keep
story.
that.
And I'm not ashamed of any damn thing of what's
You should
happened.
not.
Then why would I be? It builds
So-
character. It was great.
So you've always been like based,
I've always been base, yeah.
because
I grew up
you're
in
great.
a very base household. My mother is. We have shared the same beliefs. My grandfather passed a year ago. Sadly, when I was in the army, so I didn't really get a chance to come back here and
man.
see
Sorry to
him.
hear that.
Came right after he passed, so I got to see the funeral and be there and everything. But mother, we believe in the same thing. Grandfather, of course, he's laid the foundation, laid the groundwork, and I just expanded upon that. I mean, me and him would get into arguments based on certain things we believe in, because I was moving more to the right. He stayed a little bit hard line conservative, and I was like, nah, I'm going to the wall. He's like,
Wait a minute. Now that's
a little bit, kind of calm it
That's
down.
interesting.
Yeah.
Can I ask like just one example of something that y'all like kind of bumped heads on?
Israel. Israel.
Why did I know he was gonna
Israel.
say?
We disagree.
always-
I knew he was gonna
Always
say
that.
It's always that, yeah. It was Israel, and it wasn't aggressively. It was more of he was very conscious of the question. We'll just say the Israeli question, right? He knew about the
Yeah.
Israeli question. Let's keep it there. But he was always still praising the rest of. He was still like not fully on board to condemn and call out everything. I'm like talking about 109 countries, and I'm just going on and on and on. I'm talking about Martin Luther. And he's like, Martin Luther. I read Martin Luther back in 1972, and this is like going on through this shit. And we're
Nice.
debating philosophy. We were big into debating philosophy. And I was big into Rousseau and Schopenhauer, and he was as well. We read everything: Kant, Spinoza, Spangler. I'm a big Spangler fan. So we would have these long, hours-long conversations. We would sit here. I'm sitting in his house. I inherited his house. This is his bookshelf, everything. His hat's at the top that I used to wear every day. So, and I've read all the things. I'm not just having this in the background or appear smart. I've looked through all of it. They got stuff from, business, stock trading. He was big into that. So I've read all these books from being a kid all the way up to now. And we would have long, drawn-out conversations about, politics, religion, history, philosophy, all that. We just never talked about fucking fiction or sports or anything like. We love boxing. Me and him love boxing. That was one thing. Boxing and
Boxing
horse
is
racing.
nice.
Yeah, boxing and horse racing. That was my golf as well.
Horse race. Oh God. Ooh.
Yep. So we looked at all of that shit and studied it. We got a bunch of World Book dictionaries. I don't know how much they would be worth. But
So I gotta ask. So your granddad, like, he was aware of the points that you make and the Israeli question,
yeah,
because
amazing.
that it is valid. It's very valid. It's not that what we when we talk about this stuff. It's not that what we're saying isn't true.
Literally.
It's just like I think what they're getting hung up on is like how much does that affect the grand scheme of things. I think it's like, is it okay? What you're saying is true, but like, is that really like? Are you saying that they're running our country? It's like, I mean,
Yes.
you feel me? I mean, I can't say like yes they own us, but
Yeah.
it's like
yeah,
there certainly is a certain level of influence, and you can see by the way that we run in our foreign policy.
yeah.
It's that shit's kind of crazy. That's
The biggest
actually really
thing-
crazy.
The biggest thing that kind of proves that is go back to the clean break memo that Netanyahu supported. Netanyahu was big on, 7 countries in 5 years, wars in 7 countries in 5 years, and all 7 countries, Libya, Syria, Lebanon, Iraq, Sudan. I'm trying to think of the final one. What's the final one? And I think the final one was actually in Gaza. If not, it could be Iran. What am I talking about? The 7th one is Iran.
Right.
And look, Syria is destabilized to hell. Just think about this. Syria is being ran by someone that was on an FBI and CIA kill list, that was a prominent figure within Al Qaeda. He's now running Syria. Think about how fucking crazy that is. That's absolutely insane. He's running Syria, and we're
Yeah,
praising
I'm
him as
not
like he's the
too-
greatest person in the world. That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm not seeing. I'm not seeing. I haven't been paying that much attention to that. I just kind of got tuned into the whole conflict in the Middle East like fairly recently, but I have been doing some research on it. But what you're telling me is completely new information.
Yeah.
That's a whole different context.
Yeah, so we have to look at going back to how long Bibi's been in office. And in the 90s, he was very much, 90s and 2000s, before 9/11, very much supportive of, the State Department, Mossad, Israeli intelligence, and many of the members within the cassette. They all supported going to war with these countries. Like I say, read Clean Break, and it talks about this. And Bibi sat off and signed off on us and said, this is a beautiful thing. And I know you probably saw his speech the other day, like, Free Palestine is an anti-Semitic.
Right.
It's anti-Semitic to say that. What they're doing is laying the groundwork. And even if we're going to still strike Iranian nuclear facilities, regardless if the Americans and the Iranians agree on something, think about this. The entire focus for us in the Middle East, the last 30 years, has been in support of Israel. It's not been in support of the United States. It's not been in support of other allies within the region. It's been mainly in support of the interests of Israel. And anytime you've questioned that, going back to the 2000s, remember 5-10 years ago, you couldn't talk about these things openly. Now you can, given what stuff going on in Gaza. But this has been the playbook ever since the end of the Cold War, and before the Cold War as well. This has been the playbook. And they've been talking about it ever since, and we're now seeing it go into fruition. Syria is destabilized. They got Bashar al-Assad. He's out of power. Lebanon is destabilized. It's been like that since the 1980s, even more today. Iran, of course, is next. Iraq is gone.
So-
Libya is in chaos. I mean,
so
you know,
what they're
Go ahead.
So what you're saying is what they're doing is they're waging war on these countries to destabilize them, and they're installing their own leaders.
Well, it's more of what was the biggest problem with Iraq? That they were going to have nuclear weapons, and that they went into Kuwait, and they were no longer going to be a landlocked nation. They were going to have access to, of course, a waterway. They were going to have access to a port. It was going to bring in a lot of trade. And now you wouldn't just have Iran, a country that's hostile to, to Israel, or even Lebanon. You would have now Iraq, a very growing power, rising power within the Middle East, and Iran next door. Of course, both had a very contentious relationship, not a very good relationship with each other. Both of them are going to be now able to possibly come up with an alliance. I'm sure if Iran and Iraq were here today, and Saddam was still in power today, there would most definitely be an alliance to go against Israel. That was a big threat that they felt that it was coming. That we have these two nations that are hostile to our interests. One nation gains another port access and waterway access. That is going to be a large threat to us. And they have these WMDs that they keep quoting. As we know, Israel has WMDs. They have nuclear weapons. And they're not signed to the treaties that we're signed to or other nations are signed to. If these two nations get that and are having this power, that's a threat to Israel. So it's not even that they're putting in place these people. It's the United States putting in place these people within government, allowing this to happen through CIA activity, through what goes on in the Special Operations Committee, what goes on in the Intelligence Committee, what they want and will be aligned to Israel's interests. Now, a lot of the people from the State Department from Washington still has this idea that we need to go into these countries and bring democracy, but also we need to do it as long as it aligns with the democracy in the Middle East, Israel. Just like within the State Department still, and there's a constant back and forth. There's a civil war in the State Department now on the view of Russia. We should still treat Russia as a communist threat. Remember, what's his name? Mitch McConnell saying we need, primacy. We still need to combat, the Russia, and this is stupid. Why do we need to combat a Christian country that's no longer communist? In my opinion, they still probably have some sympathetic views of it. But regardless, a Christian country is a growing power. It's always going to be a major power. It's never going away. Why do we need to be hostile to it? So now you look at what's going on with that and how they've been combating that, and you look at what's going on in Israel. This is the CIA, the State Department, and Mossad. Their hands are all over it. Israel wants power in the Middle East, unchallenged. It's how it's always been. It's been like this since 1947. It's grown even more.
That's definitely what it seems like.
Yeah.
Like I said, I haven't been paying it too much attention to. I've been doing a little research here and there, but that's
right, because you gotta keep in mind we just got on this whole conservative side. We was on the liberal side.
Oh wow!
Pre 2023.
You guys are new.
So we've been like speed running all this.
Holy shit! You're speed running it like a motherfucker.
Speed running.
It's been like 15 years for me. Like all my life, but really being in it, it's been a long time for me.
So that's a gift.
Yeah, because really what piqued our interest was like when we fell in love with truth, and it's like, wow, we've been lied to about this. So what's the truth? Oh, this is the truth. Wow, this is crazy. They just keep following the rabbit hole, and you just keep getting links, and people recommend stuff, and some stuff is like kind of just BS. You can kind of like discern what's good and what's not. But then like this in particular, we're like, there's something to this. Like this is like a whole different thing, and it's like then when you bring it up to different people, you see the reactions. They're like, bro, what the hell?
Bro, it's all this Candace Owens shit. Like when I saw you made that video about Candace Owens, I was like, wow. See, this is why I like this guy, because this guy is thinking deeper. He's thinking real deep, okay? Because this is people I've noticed a lot of these black conservatives, right? Just they don't really know what's going on.
I want to go back to think about that. The amount of hatred, excuse me, the attacks that Candace and people like Ian Carroll have gotten from criticizing Israel.
Yeah.
Think about that. And from conservatives, not from the left. Screw that. We're talking about from people who are supposed to be on our side. These people are on our side.
Literally.
Even us.
Yeah, they've attacked us.
Even us.
These people.
I asked a simple question. What is anti-Semitism, and does it include free speech? Or does it include speech? And that question pisses so many people off.
Well, as long as you're not criticizing Israel, it's not anti-Semitic, you can't criticize
literally.
Israel. So when you call these things out, even mentioning something like the USS Liberty, which I'm sure you guys are familiar with.
Oh, yeah.
The moment you remember that's anti-Semitic. You can't talk about that.
Right,
the moment you start mentioning just that Israel has nuclear weapons, Why is Iran not allowed to have nuclear weapons? Well, you know,
Yeah,
Israel
and
needs to
that's
defend
what I was
itself.
thinking. When you was telling me, I'm sitting there thinking, okay, why is them having a nuclear weapon an issue? You can say, okay, well, they'll use it on us. Okay, we'll say that then. But that's not what you're going to say. They're going to use it on Israel. Why do we care? Because it's our ally. Why are they our ally? It was because with Judeo-Christianity. Nah, bro.
There's no Judeo-Christian.
Nah,
that's
bro.
that's
What
the
the hell
biggest
are we
lie. The Judeo-Christian value. This PragerU fucking bullshit that they try to pull.
Literally, bro. And that's one thing we realized when we came to the right. And this is why when we talk politics, we rarely talk to black people about this because this is like a whole nother layer
It's
that they
definitely a layer.
literally can't even fathom. They just think the Jews are white. So it's like,
Yeah.
oh,
No,
I told you them white people ain't gonna accept you. It's like, no, nigga, it's
What,
not
nigga,
white.
are you fucking stupid? Like, no, like,
You niggas
do you
know
see the
nothing.
nose and the curly hair? That's not
Oh,
Italian,
man.
nigga. That's fucking Jewish.
Yeah, so it's like, and I've noticed that's how it kind of like maybe why the boomers and the older generations get caught up in that. It's because they've been conditioned for a long time. Like the same conditioning that the blacks have been getting on the liberal side, the conservatives have been.
I got in trouble for this meme. Wait,
Oh, boy, your tower fell. I wonder what happened, boy.
oh, bro, we got in trouble for that. I
No,
think we
your
got
tower went
blackballed.
down? Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
I actually think we may have gotten blackballed from like mainstream conservative for this
No,
type of
no,
stuff.
because we
You most
listen.
certainly
Let me tell my quick little story. Okay, we thought we was gonna be the next big thing in the conservative sphere because I had a whole experience where back in Chicago I was assigned a transgender as my roommate in an apartment complex and told that because he identified as a female it was okay. So that whole situation pretty much launched us into the conservative sphere because we realized that we were supporting batshit insanity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So everything was cool. I made a video that went viral, and we got like semi-discovered. We got invited out to this event in Florida back in 2023. It was like a
Really?
conservative event.
Wow.
Trump this, Trump that,
Yeah.
MAGA stuff.
They
And
wouldn't
then
invite me.
maybe a few months
Yeah,
later,
certainly not now.
I dropped this meme in the comments on Twitter. I don't even remember the context, right? But it was this guy who was like, he was the founder of a movement, I guess, called Walk Away, which
Yeah.
is basically a group of people. You know about it.
Yeah, I know.
So, yeah, we're familiar. This guy was like kicking it with us. I posted my video on the Walk Away page, and that's how it ended up going viral, and I gained a following on Twitter. But he basically called, we got invited to an event, and he called us and confronted us about this meme.
They always
said,
do
"Do you
that
think
for
It
the
was
money."
like, do you think the Jews did 9/11?
Jews did 9/11. We're like, well, we're not saying that,
we're not
but
saying
I mean,
that.
Like,
We would say that 9/11 did support their interest of us getting involved in the Middle East. Yes.
Yeah.
But I'm like, damn. So we can't post. I can't post this Pepe meme. This
You can't put
equals
the
me getting
Pepe,
black
the fucking-
ball.
yeah.
You know
Jeez.
what you just said, Andre. 9/11 did influence us to get involved in the Middle East. Okay,
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, if not most people, think that idea. I think they are aware of that. Okay, take it a step further. Why? Why would we get involved in the Middle East? Oh, it's because oil. It's like, nah, bro. I'm not buying that.
It's not because of oil. It's because of, like I said, it goes back to. This is why the boomers and even the Gen Xers have been brainwashed to this belief. Is because what was World War II about? World War II was not about stopping evil Hitler from crossing over the Atlantic. It was about a fight against nationalism, a fight against about national identity, against I would say a clash between three economic systems: corporatist economics, capitalism, and of course the system was rising within the Soviet Union and spreading even within China and other places as well. So you get a clash between those worldviews, those ideologies, that entire fundamental purpose that those countries were working towards. And that's what it was about. So we get post-World War II society, and we get the creation of the Jewish state, because, yeah, where are they going to go? They just been, the Holocaust happened. I was going to be honest, it did happen. You can't deny it. It did happen. We could talk about certain things being built on the east side of the Reich. We could talk about a few things that, probably happened after the war, when the Soviets were getting closer and closer to Berlin. But as we know, 6 million people did die. There's no question. I don't get into the Holocaust denial shit. I'm never going to question and say, like, it didn't happen. It did happen. The thing is, it's horrible. We don't want it to happen again. But we do have to look at things that do pop up like, it's kind of sketchy. I do think the Soviets did build camps and build things to support their case in trying to execute and push for the execution of German officials and justify them having the territory, which it's been their interest to do so. But people don't ever want to talk about that. But going further into that, moving away from that, you get this post-World War II society. The Jewish state is established, I think wrongfully, right? I understand their point of interest that we have really no place to go. We want our own homeland, to not have another Holocaust, to not be subjected by other people, which is fair. We get the creation of Israel, right? The biggest thing that changes all of the politics and the shift for foreign policy is the Kennedy presidency. Now, the Kennedy presidency was, of course, coming out of Eisenhower, who warned about the growing military-industrial complex, growing too large and uncontrollable, and talked about even the growing factions within Washington that was going to have control over foreign policy, control over finance, control over the direction of where we're going, politically, internally, domestically, and on a national stage, right? International stage. So Kennedy was somebody who did not want to get further involved in Vietnam, wanted to limit our involvement in Vietnam, wanted to end the Cold War. The Cold War honestly could have ended in the 60s. Khrushchev and Kennedy, as we see in the papers and all the historical books, like they were bitter enemies. No, really, they actually wanted to work together. I think they were quite similar. They both wanted the Cold War to end. Khrushchev had lived in the time of Stalin, lived in the time of deep factionalism and the purges, and he saw war. I think he fought on the Eastern Front, right, on the Western Front for them, Eastern Front as we know it. So he didn't want another world war. He didn't want another. He didn't want a nuclear war. He wanted to end it. But of course, he's going to be hard line and push for it because this is what his country wants. And also, he's got a bunch of people that would kill him if he doesn't do it. So he's going to do what's in his interest. So Kennedy, of course, didn't want to get involved in Vietnam. Did not like the growing military-industrial complex. Did not enjoy seeing the CIA get more and more powerful. Did not like the crime that was going on with the organized crime from the mafia. The one thing that signed his death warrant was he did not want the Israelis to get a nuclear weapon. And
right.
The Israelis, they got a nuclear weapon in the 1960s and 70s. And he warned about this because you had the Dimona nuclear plant that was being built, all that. He did not want the Israelis to get it. And that kind of signed it like, yo, hell no, we can't have him as president. So, of course, I think that the Israelis had interest in seeing him dead. I don't say the Israelis killed Kennedy. I think the CIA did. I think everyone knows it at this point. I think it's, something you really can't argue. The CIA did it. Yeah. But the Israelis benefited from it. So you get to 1967, right? Let's go through historical events. The Americans got involved in World War I because of the sinking of the Lusitania. When the USS Pranay was attacked, it was sunk and attacked in World War II, well, before World War II, in China. This increased the tensions between the United States and Japan, which led to the embargo and all the different trade restrictions we put on Japan. Get to the Gulf of Tonkin incident, which got us further involved in Vietnam. Some rice farmer shot up a PT boat. We get further involved in Vietnam based on that. The Israelis attacked an American intelligence ship during their war with Egypt, which they wanted us to get involved with. We didn't want to get involved with it. What do? They attack it and say the Egyptians did it. And we find out, like, no, it wasn't the Egyptians, it was you. And we don't respond. So think about all these occasions where we responded with, we pushed back, and we were like, we're going to go to war, or we're going to make sure we are going to return the favor. With Israel does it, nothing is done. And people cover this up all day. So that's the USS Liberty ship.
Right.
So even fast forward, even with 9/11. 9/11 was, hey, you got attacked. We knew it was going to happen. I don't think that they had any involvement in it. Like, the Israelis were driving, like they were flying the planes, but they knew it was going to happen. They were aware of it. And this is why they celebrated, because they knew that the Americans would now get involved in Middle Eastern affairs even more than what they were. So,
right. So,
and
I think that's kind of the thing, because it's like, okay, so why are our people so invested in? Why do they share so many similar interests with Israel? Why do our people?
Talking about black people?
So,
or are you talking about?
No, I'm talking about like Americans, or like even the CIA.
Like, why would the CIA do something that benefits another country?
Well, because it's about power. It's not even about the people. When the State Department, it's not about the people. It's about power. It's about promotions. It's about notoriety. It's about political success. They don't give a fuck about the rest of the people. They care about what is going to increase their power. That's just how man has always been. We always want to increase our power, right?
So for them killing JFK, so at the same time, Israel could get their nuclear weapons. That's their interest, and the CIA could gain what from that?
Well, they gain interest. They gain control. They gain the ability to do whatever they want with a blank check within the Middle East, and they have been for the last since the 1960s. They were allowed to do whatever they wanted that lasted from the 1960s all the way to now, and no one's going to stop them. No one's going to stop them. They killed the president. No one's going to stop them. So I mean, they can do whatever they want to.
Oh, so they pretty much
conducting operations to kill. They've been conducting
in the government.
They've been conducting operations to kill other presidents, prime ministers, destabilize countries for since the last 60 years. This is what they gain. So when it comes to Israel, Israel has its interest of we want to secure our own existence and have power and control over the Middle East, which is fine and fair. I mean, cool. Do what you want to do. But tying a big state like the United States that had a growing military-industrial complex, that had a growing power in the world stage, was respected to a degree, and still is respected to a degree. That's a good ally to have. It's like having, let's take it in this way, street talk. You're a little kid on the block, and you've got another little kid. You both are like small as shit, right? Small and weak. You want to beat the fuck out of this kid, and all these other little kids out here. You want to beat the hell out of them. So what do you go do? You know you can't take them all on. So what do you go do? You go get your big brother, or you get another kid that's bigger and taller that can fight for you on the behalf of you. So you're on this one-on-one, you can call over your brother like, hey, help me out, and he's gonna beat the shit out of him. It's gonna be easy. So you don't have to throw as many punches. You can still have to throw some punches. You're still gonna have to take some punches, but you don't have to throw as much because you've got this bigger kid that's on your side that's gonna come and help you either way. That's what they gain. So what is it that we gain as the United States? The people gain nothing, but the people from Washington, you see where their careers went with this. The people within the State Department, you see where their careers went with this. You see people within the CIA, people within the Special Operations Community, their careers went up. And all that does is increases power. And people don't want to think well, they don't gain anything. They do. Individuals want power. We all want power. Us as men, we want power. We want control over as much as we can have. If we were offered power to control something tomorrow, we would take it. We would, of course, assess how much can we manage, but we wouldn't for a second say no. If I could have more control over my neighborhood, I'm sure you would say yes. If you had the opportunity to be a governor or to be even president, I'm sure you would say yes. It would be this is a great achievement. This is a great honor. We want more power and control. The question is, what do you do with that power? And who benefits from the power that you have? And that's the greatest question at the end of the day.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Makes sense, man. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, you definitely enlightened me. And what was that you said to read? It was
the clean break
cut.
memo. Yeah.
Clean break memo.
Yeah.
Is that a book or
I would say that
a declaration?
It's a declaration memo. Tucker Carlson does like a fantastic. I'm not a big Tucker Carlson fan, but I do like some of the podcasts he does with when it comes to talking about what's going on in the Middle East and Israel. I like the way he's going. I like that he's criticizing and talking about it. And he brings on people like Jeffrey Sachs. Jeffrey Sachs does a phenomenal breakdown of the foreign policy when it comes to Russia and when it comes to Israel. Even, I think, General McMaster, was it McMaster and McGregor? He talked about Ukraine. I don't think he talked about Israel as much. But they have been phenomenal in breaking down what's been going on. I can't even think of the Republican congressman that talked about 9/11 and how he pretty much was kicked out of office because he was criticizing the intelligence community and how they knew about it and how they knew this was going to happen. And they kicked him out of office. I think it was out of Pennsylvania. I can't think of his damn name. He's very energetic and he does sound loony. And that's why I had to turn him off. I think Tucker did an interview with him. I'm like, I got to turn this fucking guy off. He's just making me crazy. But a lot of the stuff he does bring up is legitimate, and a lot of the books and people that he quotes can verify what he's saying. So it's a lot of information out there, especially now with the stuff that's going on in Gaza. There's a lot of information that was not public 10 years ago. A lot of conversations that I didn't hear 10 years ago that are being said now. I couldn't talk about these things openly. I think with our generation, we're going to talk about it even more. The question is, we just don't want to... we just don't want to get into. We talk about the anti-Semitism. I don't want to get into actual. Oh, I hate Jewish people. I think that's stupid because if we're gonna do that, if we're gonna do that, then we're gonna get into actual. We hate black people shit. No.
Yeah, it's and that's the thing. We're not coming from a place of hatred.
Never.
We don't hate Jews. We don't. Hate
And that's
black
what pisses
people.
me off when niggas get mad at our argument. They go, "Oh, you hate Jews. You hate
No,
Jews."
we
Nigga,
don't.
what the hell are you talking about? I didn't say I hate
Like,
anybody.
I think that's just an attempt to derail the conversation.
It is.
Now
It's
you're,
the same thing
you're
that the
forcing
blacks
me
do.
to defend what I said. Like, can you attack my argument?
No.
What I said is not true. Like, I think I've even because on Twitter I haven't been so bold as to my opinion on the Israel and Palestine thing. I just simply ask questions.
That's it.
What do you guys think about this? Oh man, this video looks kind of horrific. What do you think about it? And they're all, it's like constantly Jewish people like, oh, it's what they get, it's what they deserve. I'm like, damn, it's like really? It's like it's just this revengeful spirit. And I'm like, I don't know about that, bro. They're like, oh, you don't talk about October 7th because I don't know nothing about it.
This shit gets on my nerves. Like October 7th was beginning of the conflict within the Middle East with Israel and Palestine.
Right.
Like, no,
This is not new.
like, this is not
Right, clear.
fucking new. Like let's
Right, from the research that I've seen, and what you said is exactly true. It seemed like ever since World War II, they pretty much signed the Balfour Declaration, right? And they got rights over the land in Palestine because it was Palestine before. It still was. So they was able to establish a Jewish state, and they gave the declaration to Rothschild, and that's kind of like.
This
Okay,
goes back
this
to
is our
World War
shit.
One. This goes back to the beginning of the century.
Oh.
It's not even.
Oh, yeah,
It's not
yeah.
even just with the we're going to do it. It was more of
Oh, Lord.
what was rising out of Germany and Italy was of course, as we know, there was a hatred towards Jews, a skepticism towards the Jewish state. More so in Germany than it was Italy. The Italians pretty much adopted it for their own survival because Germany was a growing power and more powerful than them. Obviously, I think. Honestly, Hitler should have got rid of Mussolini and took over Italy. It was a waste of time to even let them. They were fucking useless in the war. They didn't do shit. My opinion. Just my personal opinion. But with that, right, of course, you have the end of World War II and the creation of this state. This guarantee for Jewish people, which I do feel was right. I do feel was justified to give them their own state. I don't think it should have been in the way it was done.
Yeah, at the expense of the Palestinians. That seemed kind of crazy.
Right. Without their consent, without their agreement, without
Yeah.
trying to come up with something that actually
Because I was even looking at like the population increase of the population breakdown of the different races and religions, and you can see like the Jews they just took like a big jump from like less than 5-10% to now over 70% in not a long time. I mean, that's kind of crazy.
Well, it's the calling home of people from the Holocaust called a lot of people like, come over here. You don't have to worry about these other governments and other people. This is our home, which is, like I said, as a nationalist, that's great. I believe in that. But to whose expense? What's happening with that?
And that's really what I've kind of realized is like, because as I was doing the research, that is legitimately the question I had of why is them having their own state? Why is it an issue? Well, it's not an issue. What they're doing to get said state is the issue. And I think when people don't want to get into that nuance, they just want to call you names and just I don't know. The
Low
shit's
IQ
weird.
responses.
The shit's weird, bro.
Yeah, it's we're seeing a cultural and social revolt in America right now when it comes to the Israel shit. I mean, like I said, you couldn't talk about this shit 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
You would fucking lose everything talking about it. You still will now. Yeah, today you'll lose it, but the people who are losing now, losing the connections and losing all that, they're going to gain in 10 years.
Speaking of losing, I have a friend. Oh my god, yeah! I have a friend in Chicago. I worked for him. I call him my friend, but he started off as my boss.
Mm-hmm.
He worked at one of the clubs downtown Chicago, and he been security manager, like damn near corporate for like 5 to 10 years. He's been there for a while. Mm-hmm. He was on Twitter, just shooting tweets into the void about Israel and Zionists. Just shoot him into the void, getting no engagements, no likes. They found his Twitter, some page called Stop Antisemitism. They found his Twitter, posted about him, made him go viral, and his ass got fired for that. I'm like, that is crazy. That's just how close this shit is. It's like, it's not just like it's not like Kanye and people like getting caught up in this. These are regular people
Losing their jobs for stuff like this.
for simply just criticizing the state of Israel. That's it.
Yeah.
It's crazy. He lost his job for that. And he's like trying to get a lawsuit, and I'm like, bro, I don't even. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And then in
It's
Texas,
still going on.
yeah, in Texas they got like this. They're real big on like anti-Semitism down here. I'm like, damn, did we move to the wrong state? This is crazy.
Honestly, if you would have asked me, yes, you did. You moved to, if you were like a typical normal Fox News, Sean Hannity watching conservative, yeah, like you moved to a great state. But if you're someone who's in the know and doesn't come from this point of, oh, I hate these people, or it's more of, when we talk about accountability. Black people, there needs to be accountability, right? There needs to be honesty on what's going on and what we're doing, what we're failing to do. I truly believe in that. Now, when it comes to Jews, and especially when it comes to the biggest Israeli supporters of people from government, there needs to be accountability. So the same accountability we're calling out for black people, the same thing needs to happen among Jewish people with Israel.
Thank you.
That's all we're asking for. We're not
Thank
asking
you.
for Jews to leave the world, and we need to get rid of them now. Like, this fucking
yeah,
shit
like,
is
it's not.
stupid.
It's not that deep. That's not that.
And y'all, and they know that. That's why they be playing
Yeah,
stupid and act like
they
they
try
don't
to
know. That shit pisses me off.
It's a
They try to
propaganda.
straw man.
It's a
Because
propaganda.
literally, because I genuinely see the benefit of like, if it wasn't, let's say the Jewish, the Hollywood is Jewish, okay,
Yeah.
sure it's Jewish, but look at how many millionaires they created. Look at how many stars they created. Look at the industry, the jobs for so many people that they generated. Like, that's remarkable. Look at the media, look at the music and stuff like that. That's like genuinely an asset to the country. So if Jews have to go and not have to go, well, they can stay. You know, it's like I don't have an issue with what they're producing and what they're doing. The issue is just it's the ethics.
Yeah.
It's the ethics. That's literally it. It's the ethics, and that's a very considerate. Exactly, it's a fair criticism, and that's all we really want. So if you had to suggest a state for being in the know, where you can kind of
Michigan.
Shit, obviously Michigan, right?
really, you think so?
Fucking for me,
That's
I
what
mean,
he-
I like it here. Yeah, I love it here. You know, I've been here all my life.
We need to go back to the Midwest. Just go
I
back.
went to North Carolina is a nice state, but it's a military state, so you know you have to deal with fucking. You know, yeah. I think you guys would love it.
High
For
security.
me, it's like, oh fuck, not high security. It's just, fuck, dude. I gotta look at the like. For me, I don't want to be around a military state. One, VA shit, and then two, I just don't want to see it. I'm good. I don't need to see fatigues anymore. I got my pants on. That's it.
He's had enough.
Yeah, I had enough, dude. I was at Fort Bragg, so I was at the heart of special operations and, you know, the airborne community. I miss jumping out of planes. That shit was fun.
Thank you for your service.
Oh, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't.
Oh, okay.
We fucking hate that. But yeah, no, you know we fucking hate that. Like we hear
I
that.
don't. I do it all the time.
We're like, fuck. They fucking said it, man. They said thank you for your service. I'm at Walmart right now. Like, anyway, it's cool. It's almost when we hear that, it's a joke in the army is when officers, right? And you're supposed to salute officers when you walk by. So, you know, good morning, sir. You know, how you doing, sir? Good morning. They fucking hate that. So I used to love fucking officers. Good morning, sir. Say it from like across the fucking street. Sir, good morning. Hey, good morning. I'm doing all right.
I'm
You know, it's always
crying.
funny. I used to fuck with them and do this shit. So I guess it's a taste of my own
That's
medicine.
hilarious.
Yeah.
I was that serious. I don't know if we're trying to go over time or whatever, but I really wanted to tackle this black fatigue video he made.
Oh, yeah, go ahead,
Remember?
go ahead.
The whole topic. This supposed to be
Oh,
Happy
the-
George Fatigue Day. Hello. We
I'm
just
gonna
talking
give you.
about.
I'll give a insight on the video that I'm gonna do next. I don't know how big.
Please.
It's gonna be. But go ahead and let's get into the black fatigue one.
Yeah, let me type it up real quick. Let me bring it down here.
Damn, you're way more based than I thought you would be. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, man, I'm thoroughly impressed.
Do you like Nick Fuentes? Are you watching him?
I hate Nick Fuentes. I used to argue.
Hates Nick.
I can't stand Nick. I think Nick is the worst representation of nationalism because he's a effeminate little faggot. I can't stand him. I used to argue with a lot of his lieutenants. I can't stand Nick. Cannot stand Nick.
That's fair.
I think he's useful. I'm watching Nick when he first started. I was watching Nick when he had 20 followers on YouTube. And shit.
Oh, you one of those.
Yeah, so I know where Nick comes from, and I enjoyed his content. I just don't think he's genuine anymore. I think his entire focus is retarded. I think he has a lot of things I agree with. I agree with him by like 50%. But when it comes to America First and what they're doing, I've argued with them. When I ran an organization called New Frontier, we had the height of about maybe 60 members. A very small team. I inherited the organization. I came in and made it my thing. I don't think you could find anything about it. Maybe find some articles about it because I went to some protests and stuff representing it. I told Nick and a few of his lieutenants, like, listen, I didn't tell Nick, but a few of his lieutenants are around him. Like, what's his name? Dalton and Beardson. These online personalities.
Pearson is a Groiper?
Yeah, he's a
Oh yeah, they get
yeah.
along.
I
I've
didn't know
argued
that.
with him a lot. We had a whole big debate on the kill stream like about 2-3 years ago.
You got
I said, if you're not focusing on community action, if you guys are not going to focus on getting out in the community and helping people, then what the fuck is the point of your organization?
That's gay.
Right.
We're trying to build the white elite. Like we're trying to build the
Yeah.
white intellectualism. Like
You guys are fucking stupid. Like,
Yeah,
nobody gives a
and
fuck.
that's the thing, and that's exactly how it feels. Like I like a lot of stuff that Nick's saying, but I legitimately feel like the Groipers are gay. Like them
They're
niggas
gay.
is this shit's gay as
Gay.
hell.
It's extremely
Like
gay.
like
There
when
is a line.
Like when we went to Detroit and he had his thing at Detroit too.
Oh,
and,
wow,
and
you
then
were
it
here?
ended up not happening. No, we didn't go to that. We went to the People's Convention.
Some Blexit thing.
Yeah, it was the People's Convention.
Wow.
Yeah, people-
Do they still have
That
that?
was our first
it was
time in
Turning
Detroit.
Point. Yeah, it was our first time in Detroit.
Detroit's cute.
Blexit invited us.
Wait, hold on. I don't want to. So what's up with y'all and all these little hot dogs, Coney Island?
Oh man, Coney Island's the shit, man. Hey man,
We was
Coney dog.
on Uber trying to find some food, and we was like, "What the hell is this? You think
Hey
you
man, the
hot
Coney
dog?"
man, y'all ain't come up to the Coney. Hey man, the one on 8 Mile. I'm just playing. I love Coney. Coney is dope.
I did not know that was y'all thing.
I was gonna come up here and bully the fuck out of Nick and just like mog the shit out of them. I'm like, you guys are gay. You're in my city. My city's shitty, and you're in this shitty city being gay. Like, get the fuck out of here. Like, no, I can't stand them because, like I said, they don't work. They're not working towards anything long term. It's just like,
we don't like women and we're gay and like the Jews.
and it's like,
okay, guys.
cool. You
Yeah.
can't get it up in bed. Great, mommy didn't love you enough. Cool fucking story. Like, come on.
And that's exactly how I feel. Because I'm like, okay, Nick has a lot of good points. I agree with a lot of stuff he's saying. But it's like, okay, so you think black people have a low IQ? What the fuck? It's like,
Cool.
okay,
So go produce some white kids.
Yeah.
And have them high
yeah,
high
you need
IQ.
to have more white babies.
Where's
Why
your
aren't
bitch?
y'all?
Where's your girlfriend?
Where y'all women at? Why are y'all
Y'all
women?
can't even get 'em.
I
First
don't need a
off-
girlfriend. Like I just want a 16-year-old girl.
Right.
That's all I
it's
want.
It's like, okay, you can sit there and talk about the blacks all day. We talk about the blacks.
Yeah.
But let's not sit here and act like the liberal white women aren't doing the same thing at a bigger scale.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's more liberal white women than the entire black population. So I think like come on now. And these are your women. These are your white
Get
women.
y'all hoes in line.
If they're doing the same thing as the blacks, do they not have the same IQ? Like, you feel me? Like they're doing the same shit.
Becky needs
No,
to get in
he
line.
pinned it. Black
Is
fatigue.
this one?
Yep.
Okay, hold on. Okay. I'm not gonna lie, bro. I thought you were a lot older.
You did.
It's the mature.
No, it's because he got like I said this earlier, and now you saying you was raised by your granddaddy makes a lot of sense because you sound like his dad, and his dad kind of sound like he's like got the '70s accent going on. Like I'm so serious. Like
70s accent is crazy.
You know, it's funny.
When you said you was raised by your granddaddy, I could tell.
Yeah. Well, he lived right next door. He had a big influence on me. But my mother raised me, and then he's next door. So
Oh yeah.
so yeah.
Makes sense.
Okay.
Holy
let's
shit!
get
This is me.
black
Who the fuck
fatigue.
is this guy?
Look at all them likes.
These
I
fucking,
bet they mad as hell when they
Celebrities, they
come.
gotta be.
fucking glasses and shit.
I just
Tired
want
of
you to
dealing
know.
with
Okay.
My bad. Go ahead.
people are tired of dealing with niggas and nigga shit. Black fatigue is a collective
Holy shit, guy.
That's awkward.
It's awkward looking at
TikTok.
this guy in his fucking glasses.
TikTok.
people are tired of dealing with niggas and nigga shit. Black fatigue
Wow.
Jesus Christ.
is a collective tiredness that everyone in the country, especially in the United
Wow.
TikTok is so broken.
This is
TikTok.
This sucks.
States
China, what
as
the fuck
black
are you doing, China?
people are tired of the ghetto.
And I keep trying to
It's the
pause it, but it
ratchetness, the loud-
keeps, okay, hold on. Because it keeps unpausing when I'm trying to pause it.
People are tired of dealing with niggas and nigga shit. Black fatigue is a collective
Damn.
You got it on
This is shit.
Instagram.
Did you
It
post
is
this
on
on anywhere else?
Yeah, it's on Instagram. Yeah, if you go to my Instagram.
Okay. Okay.
Damn, that's what my
we're
page
gonna-
looks like.
Yeah, it's fire.
Holy
Your
shit,
page is
dude.
fire.
I don't. So here's the
Oh,
thing.
I'm telling you, when you first popped up, I was like, oh my god, this is beautiful. Thank you
this
so
guy
much.
face.
I thought the black conservatives died out. I thought the blacks who was speaking the truth died out.
Yeah,
Where has this guy been at?
They're all, the people I've seen recently, especially on TikTok, like I like Jeffrey Mead. I think he's a cool dude.
Yeah, I like him too.
I just hope he doesn't fall into the Candace Owens route when she. And this is the problem I have with Candace. Candace doesn't talk about black issues as much as she used to. I think she's just kind of giving up on the shit, which is fair. But
It
I
is.
think-
I mean, people get tired of getting bullied by these Negroes all the time.
But
Like
here's the
sometimes
thing.
it's just like, we gotta lay off of them. But why?
Here's the thing.
No.
we can't get tired on
No.
what we need. We can't get tired on what we're fighting against because it doesn't matter how tired we are. If the fight needs, if you're in a war, you can't complain about how tired you are. You got to
Yes,
fight
you're
it.
right.
You got to fight it until the end. That's the problem with a lot of these people. They call themselves conservative, black conservative, nationalists. All of them, they get tired of fighting. And that's why we don't get what we want. The left, they don't get tired of fighting. They get out there, they protest, they go.
Never.
I've been to
Yep.
protests. I've been
Every day they bring water bottles and
DNC.
shit.
I was out there in Union Park yelling at these fucking. As much as I support pro-Palestine, I don't like you being in American Park, burning flags and shit.
Dude,
RNC
when I used
was
to
out
go home from Chicago, they used to protest.
Bro,
So
he used to get
much.
stuck from
Dude.
his shift downtown because niggas was protesting on a Saturday just for no
I'd be
reason.
like,
I was like, bro.
Why?
And I sometimes I see them getting ready from the job. I'd be like, bro, they bringing flags? Oh hell no!
These niggas in
Call,
the back
I
of the
called
street.
my wife like I'm finna be late coming home today.
Damn.
Why they finna protest?
They got
Look at
flags,
this.
nigga. They got
Flip the
flags
camera.
out.
Oh, flags and pickup
Unemployed
trucks.
behavior.
Becky brought some
Ridiculous.
signs. Shit. Fuck.
Man. All right,
These
let's
fat
get this
bitches
working.
they love to walk on this day.
This is why black fatigue exists.
Let me make this brief as possible. I don't know what black fatigue is. I don't know where it came from. But in public, if you use it my way, I'm gonna beat this shit out you.
I'm
No, you're not.
That is like the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. You don't know what it is, but you're gonna act hostile towards it. That is a nigga right
That
there.
is a monkey
That
right
is
there.
what?
Because what the hell?
You don't know
Yes.
what it is, but you're hostile. Okay.
Yes, be violent and prove what people are saying about black people. A prime example of single mother raised behavior. Instead of asking intelligent questions to figure out what's going on, you would rather be violent. And that just shows that you're not a civilized individual. So thank you for proving everyone's point when it comes to black fatigue. Don't ask questions, just be fucking violent. A great strategy that has been working so well among black people. This is why black
Nice.
That
Zero
was
short and
conflict
sweet.
resolution skills.
Yeah, I think I posted that
Just
one today
nothing.
or some shit. I don't remember.
Is that the go
So
back.
I think the one that we were looking at on TikTok is
Yeah, like
Oh,
the
that
main
wasn't it?
Nah,
No.
I think your Andre, I think your mic got a little low.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
this is what black
Yeah,
fatigue. He
just
made a
a
lot of
little.
videos about black fatigue.
Is it okay?
What's the one that what was
Black fatigue is a real thing.
yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay, it's this one.
Okay. Hold on. Bringing it back. And I think after this we can wrap it up.
All right.
Okay. All right, bet.
tired of dealing with niggas and nigga shit. Black fatigue is a collective tiredness that everyone in the country, especially in the United States, has for black people. People are tired of the ghetto-ness, the ratchetness, the loud behavior, the fighting, the arguing. They're tired of all that shit from black people. They're tired of black people using the race card to escape any kind of criticism or any kind of trouble at all. They're tired of the excuse from black people for why they can't do something is because, well, I'm black, and because of slavery, and because of racism, and because of a bunch of bullshit that does not fucking affect them in reality. So what's the solution? Well, the solution is for black people to acknowledge that they have a problem. Our culture is a problem. The way that we handle ourselves and handle issues is a problem. Black people need to stop acting as if there is nothing wrong with us, that we are perfect and nothing can be done wrong by black people. We need to stop putting our faith and value in entertainers. They give us a poor representation, a poor image. We need to redefine the objectives and roles of both men and women within the black community. We need to put more value in education, not sports and not rapping, not fucking dope dealing and doing bullshit. Our entire collective consciousness and our focus needs to change if we want to do better. People are tired of dealing with niggas and nigga
Who
shit.
is this nigga?
Black
Like,
fatigue is a collective tiredness that every
Ooh.
Did that replay?
Yeah, it started.
Oh, it replayed.
That is crazy.
I don't
That
know who
was
that nigga
good.
is, but I owe him a beer. You know.
That nigga spitting.
Okay. That was a beat. It just brought it together so perfectly.
And
You
honestly,
didn't
I didn't
understand.
even like. That was sitting in my drafts for about a few days. I just really didn't like it, and I was like, "Fuck it, let me just
Them,
post
them
it."
be the ones.
Yeah.
Okay.
Them be
Yeah.
the ones.
I
Yeah,
really
man.
didn't like that one.
Your content is fire, man.
Your
You
content
real
is very
consistent, and you cut right through. You cut right through. You get straight to the point. No fluff.
None of it.
You just give it raw, man.
And you be pissing the niggas off. Hold on, go back to the video though.
Hold
'cause
on,
I
bro.
don't
What
know
the hell is
comments.
this piss?
Oh, it's NBA.
NBA
Never
joke.
breathe again.
Never breathe again. Hell
Wait, go
no.
back to what?
I was saying, can you go to this video we just looked up and go to the comments? I just want to see it, just to show the typical Negro's mindset.
Yeah, I
Probably.
usually sometimes I pin like if someone says some stupid shit, I pin that to the top.
Oh, please, let's see if
yeah,
he pin
it's
it.
always fun to do. I don't know if I did it on that one. I kind of.
No.
Probably on Twitter. I mean on
TikTok.
TikTok.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nah. Cause I promise you, I'll be in your TikTok comments sometimes. If I feel like it, I'll be like, listen, let me go ahead and clap back at these folks. Even though TikTok don't even let me talk, cause they be bad at everything that I comment. If I can comment, I will.
Well, you know, I'm banned
'Cause I
from
just-
even having messages. Think about that. I can't. Even
Yeah, I
see
tried to DM you and they said this sender's suspended or something. I'm like, but his page is still up.
That's
it.
crazy.
Yeah,
Gay.
it's great. So
Gay. I hate TikTok.
somebody had sent me a death threat. I get this like every day, death threats all the time. Well, TikTok now, I don't get it anymore because I can't send messages. You can't send anything to me. But I get tons of death threats. And someone said,
That's crazy.
I hope you suck a dick and fucking choke and die. And I said,
Oh, original.
I forgot what I said. I said something vulgar like, well, if you want to taste, you could come and choke on this one and die.
Oh!
And they banned me from saying like it was sexually harassed content. Like you're like, what the fuck?
See, that's the
Yeah.
type of shit that blows me, bro. These
Yeah.
niggas can fucking verbally abuse me, but the second I respond, it's a problem.
Yeah, it's
It's
ridiculous.
bullshit. That's what I'm like. TikTok be deleting comments based on context. It's almost like somebody's reading it.
Oh, so the one
I've
I got a
observed
strike
that.
on. Let me read this one. This is crazy. So the one that is the permanent strike on my page. That I just cannot remove. Let me find it. I can't believe this shit. Someone was talking about. I think this was on the Israeli video that I made a while back, and the comment was, I got it right here. It says, someone said something about Israel. No. Someone was talking about black people, and the CIA today is trying to destroy the black community or some stupid shit. I'm like, CIA, I was waiting for you to crash, and you did perfectly, and that got me a strike, and it could not be reported. So I appealed it, and it just they didn't.
Bro,
they
that
didn't
doesn't
say
make it.
was
What
wrong.
did you say wrong?
Yeah, I didn't say anything wrong, and there's nothing you can do about it. So
That shit is
Nothing
gay,
you
bro.
can
That's
do
why I
about
hate
it.
TikTok
nothing I can do
so
about it.
much.
So I've got another
It is
one,
so gay.
another account that I'm waiting on. So once this one gets banned, I thought today was going to be the day that they finally did ban me. But every time I do it, it just restores my content, and then it hurts my views because once your account
Yeah.
gets banned, you can't see shit.
Yeah.
Sometimes it bounces back. I love it when it does that. Like I'll get banned for an hour, and then an hour later the views go back up to maybe 1,000 to 3,000 people an hour, which is great. But I got one I'm waiting on. I'm trying to save. So the video I want to do that I know was going to get me banned, I decided not to post today because I want to save it for the new channel. So I did the fuck black businesses one. I did the fuck black music. I did the fuck black culture. Here's one that I think people are going to be very pissed off about. Fuck black churches. That's something that I think needs to be said.
I support
Black
it.
churches are a hub of a bunch of lies, propaganda, and thievery. You've got these
Communism.
pastors that steal from the community. They don't invest in the community. They invest in themselves.
Close the
They wallet.
doors.
They close
Close the doors.
Marvin Schlapp, I love his music. Never would have made it. I love it. And you gonna tell me to close the doors to listen to a new song? No, nigga. You can try to get some money. No, you already make money from your music.
Crazy.
Why you need to close the doors?
Yeah,
So-
these black churches are just jokes. They
And there's
be in there
50
radicalizing folks.
50 on one
Uh,
fucking street.
Jamal Bryant got his little podium, got a
Communist
damn crucifix clutching. A commie fist clutching a crucifix on the forefront of his podium. Like, what the hell is going on? What type of church is this?
And then
What
it's
is happening?
Listen, it's 75 churches on one block. You niggas don't do all that praying.
Yeah.
What you doing on that praying for?
Ain't talking damn scripture.
Not
Not one scripture whatsoever.
The scripture, maybe
But
NBA
you sitting there
YoungBoys
talking
lyrics.
about-
That's probably
Sitting there talking about boycotting Target.
Right, y'all in there talking about DEI. What the hell is going
Like,
on?
bruh,
And the
what
gospel
you talking
said DEI made black people great, and they took it away. Shut the fuck up. But get this nigga out of here. Now, if Jesus was here in the modern day, right? Well, as we know, he kicked some people out the temple for, trying to use money. These niggas would be the ones getting kicked out.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
He'd been there
100%.
kicking these niggas out. And we don't
Black
realize
Jesus would
that.
never kick them out.
Yeah, we'll
Black
talk
Jesus would
about
never.
Joel Osteen and Billy Graham. We know that they use their money. We already know that. But we never want to talk about Pastor Jamal and Pastor Tyrone and them trying to steal money from grandma. And
Yeah.
we never want to talk about these hoes that talk about they're a child of God and you sucking and fucking on Friday. You go and pray on Sunday and then talk about I ain't never gonna do it again. Then Monday you back to sucking and fucking. I never understood that. I'm a good Christian girl. Yeah, how many kids you got, ho? I'm a big
How
Kevin
many
Samuels
abortions
fan.
do you
so-
have?
Yeah, I'm a big Kevin Samuels fan. So when it comes to that shit,
Funny story about Kevin Samuels, right? Back when Kevin Samuels died, I was still a feminist. I was still pro-black, and I did not like Kevin Samuels for no clear reason. I never listened to
She
him.
literally told me, I don't want to see you watching that faggot. He's a faggot. I was like, damn. I'm like, why I can't watch it? Because I don't want my man listening to a faggot. Are you a faggot? I'm like, damn.
he was.
Yeah.
He was
I can't believe I said that, and it was only because this girl I like, Ari Lennox, she made a song talking
oh,
about
I love Ari Lennox.
why a grown man so childish, always in Kevin Samuels' calm. So that was the only context for Kevin Samuels. Like, oh, he's childish, he's gay. Stop listening to him now. Ridiculous.
I
But
do
now,
like her music, but some of her.
yeah, she has good music, but just on that
I
comment.
made her apologize for that, by the way.
You should.
And I am sorry, Kevin Samuels. I'm sorry that I would have shitted on your grave a few years ago, but I respect you now, and I appreciate what you had
I was
going
talking
on.
about to me. I made her apologize to me.
I
You
know.
told me I couldn't watch it. What the hell?
I don't think there's anybody doing what Kevin Samuels was doing today. There's not that many people doing it.
Nah, Kendra G thinks she is, but she's
I didn't
not.
know he was I didn't know he was actually conservative until I saw him talking to Anthony Bryan Logan.
Yeah, that's crazy. I was watching him from when he got his start, and I would say he's not as relevant as he used to be, which is kind of sad because I really
ABL or Kevin.
ABL.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not as relevant. He was really big in like 2017, 2018, first Trump administration, really big. And I felt he was always genuine, but that's the thing. The genuine ones never go as far because we want the. I'm just gonna say it like I said. I don't like some of these black conservatives. The Aquarius wave and the fucking Officer Tatum, and when they start criticizing Candace.
Yeah, it's that
Yeah,
conservative.
that shit's a red flag for me.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Because it's like, what's the
here's
problem?
The only one I did like that criticized Candace, and a big shout out to him. He's real cool because me and him been dunking on Aries Spears together. John Paul USA, I think he does great content. And I'm gonna have to shout out my homegirl, Carmen JC. Me and her have been. She's very bass, extremely bass.
Okay.
She does
Look her
fantastic
up.
work. She's helped me build my Instagram. My Instagram wouldn't be as big, or I would say at the level where it is now, bigger than what I expected it to be, without her. And reviving my TikTok. When TikTok first got banned, I was fucking like, I'm not doing this shit anymore. I'm done. Fuck this, dude.
Gotta do it.
Because that was like, it took me 4 months to get to 55K. With this account, it's been 50 days now. I think 50, yeah, close to 60 days. So within 50 days, I built this new one that I have. And she was a big help with that. So she's based on the Jewish question too, with these.
Wait, what's her name? Hold on.
Carmen JC. Carmen JC. Look that up on YouTube. Look it up on TikTok and Instagram. She does fantastic work.
And
How you spell JC? JC? Like JC?
JAYCEE.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Excellent woman. Does fantastic work.
And who was the other guy?
Other guy is John Paul USA. He does some funny content. I didn't
Oh,
like
I
his
see
criticism.
you got a podcast with her.
Yeah, she does great work. She's from Chicago. I think she lives in California, but she's from Chicago. Yeah. I got to get back in communication with her. I've taken a break from talking with a lot of people. You guys are the first people I've talked to in a minute being online and doing stuff like that. So This is getting me back in the fray of doing. I got to get back on doing my shows and getting out there on YouTube because we're gonna keep banning me on TikTok.
Yeah. Same with us. We were like, today is George Floyd Day. Might as well kick off today because we've been MIA, kind of moving around and just living real life. But
Yeah.
this black fatigue conversation got me wanting to get back online because you niggas are not gonna be stereotyping me and mine. Okay, they gonna know who I am. I don't play that nigger shit.
You know, we were watching these people cutting through the culture, and the guy Chad Jackson, he likes to put a montage in front of his videos for the live for the week. And there was one clip where this I forget who it was. It was some old like 1960s or 70s, like they were in the church or something, and the guy was saying like, "Oh, the white people want us to be a good nigga. I don't want to be a good nigga. I want to be a bad nigga." It's like yeah, that sound like I could think about it in the context. It sounded good because it's like, oh, I'm fighting back to what they trying to do to us. But in the grand scheme of things, like, what you mean you want to be a bad nigga? What does that mean? And it's what we see today. Are those bad niggas? Well, I'm a good nigga. You know, I'm good. I don't want to be bad. Simple as that. I don't want to be bad because bad niggas go to jail.
Literally.
Bad niggas get killed.
My question is, why would you want to be a good nigga or a bad nigga? Why not a good man?
Exactly.
A good individual,
Literally.
a good person, a good productive member of society. I don't want to be a good nigga shit. I don't want to be a bad nigga any motherfucking thing. My name's Andre Williams. You gotta call me, Mr. Williams. You can call me, sir. You can call me whatever you want. Have some respect on my fucking name and what I do and my deed, which is more important than my name. My deed, that carries the weight and worth of my name more so. And this is what a lot of these niggas don't understand because they think like, I'm a good nigga. I'm a real nigga. Why would you describe yourself as a real nigga? I am as real as you can see me. I'm as genuine as you hear my voice and see what I can do. And I think people lose so much sight of that, especially black people, because we're a lot of followers. There's a lot of fucking followers.
Yeah, a lot of followers.
A lot of followers.
Too damn many.
So many. It's unfucking believable how many followers are here. You see it every damn day. Every day.
It's embarrassing.
Yeah, and they
It
fall.
really is.
These
Grown-ass
niggas get
people.
followed to the grave. So
People twice our age. We young. Okay, you're 24. I'm 25. He's 26. Okay, we're young.
yeah.
Why the hell are we the thought leaders of our generation? What is going on with the niggas, 50 plus year olds? What is y'all doing right now?
That's how it's always been. It's always been people within this age. Of course, we're gonna have new, fresh ideas. Not as much experience because we have to think about it. A lot of us within Gen Z are just getting into our professions. We're in the first few years of having degrees and having families. We can't really say we've had 10 years to do anything. There's very few things you could say. If you've been doing this for 10 years, you've probably been following for something for 2 years, you've been studying this for 10 years. But in terms of a profession, at a professional level, we're in like the first 5 years of doing something. So 10 years from now, we're going to be the ones, like I said, 10 years from now, we're going to have a president. 10 years from now, we're going to start having senators. We're going to start having governors, people in the Supreme Court. So our focus, people who are, up and coming stars and figures within the legal system, we're already starting to see, actors our age hitting the spotlight.
Yeah.
So the next generation of thinkers is coming, and it's coming fast. But the question is, it doesn't matter how fast it's arriving. It's more of what is the impact, what is the legacy, what is the focus, what is the mission and the objective, and how can we accomplish it? And what's our doctrine of accomplishing things? And that's the question of our generation.
100%.
That's amazing, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We gonna wrap it up, but man, you great guest. Great.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
It's good to be
Thank
on
you
a
so
great
much,
host.
man.
I love you guys.
Thank you so much. So
If you're
glad
ever in
we got started.
Detroit, I owe both of you a beer. I'm a wine drinker and a beer drinker, so I owe you a beer. I owe you a glass of wine. There you go.
Nice.
Thank you.
Nice.
That would be
Appreciate
great.
it. Likewise, if you ever come to Houston,
Please.
I don't know why you would ever fucking. come to
I'm
Houston.
sorry. I don't know.
You might want to come down here and rodeo or something.
But
Going out there to buy a gun. That's what I'm gonna do.
Okay, that's a good reason. That's a good
Praise the
reason.
Lord.
Yeah.
Certainly. But yeah, man. Tell the people where they can find you at if they haven't already seen it when we pulled you up.
It's been a minute since I've done something like this. You can find me on TikTok at Andre from Detroit. At the moment, you better find me fast because it seems I get banned every day.
Keep up.
That's Andre Detroit on TikTok. If you just search Andre Williams, you'll find me. You can go on Instagram at Andre US, either Andre USA or Andre US _US. Yeah, it's right there. Here you
I'm
go.
following your Instagram. Can you follow me back, please?
I will most definitely follow you back. When it comes to Twitter, I think it's at Andre Williams US _US. You can find me there. If you go on my link tree on my TikTok or my Instagram, it gives you the link to everything. You can follow me on YouTube
Andre
as well.
Williams US.
So yes, that's where you can find me. I'm going to continue to post content on my Twitter now. I guess that's got to be the next platform I build up. I kind of want to just start over to Twitter because I've had it for such a long time.
Yeah, you should. And I'm gonna help you. Okay, I'm gonna pass on my 40K, but a lot of them might be Zionists, so don't piss them off too much. Okay, but I will be retweeting you as often as possible.
Fucking
Right.
Appreciate it. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Man.
But yeah, it's been
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. Great,
Awesome.
Great show, man. Appreciate you for coming through.
Thank you.
And man, you have a blessed day.
Happy Sunday.
I can hop off. Or you
Happy
guys
George Floyd Day.
All right, happy
Yeah,
George Floyd.
we all gonna hop off.
All right. Hey,
All
take
right,
it
man.
easy.
Y'all take it easy. All right.
See you guys.